Marvel, it starts when it links with a great clock of the Super God Academy. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 501, Farewell Gift. SYNOPSIS battle was over, and the Dark Elves were basically killed. The remaining Malekith was tied up with a silver chain under SYNOPSIS' deliberate restraint and was taken to Shy'ancha and Hela. On the other side, the cursed warriors who were planning to launch a sneak attack inside Asgard to destroy Asgard's defense measures were killed by Zhao King. Thor, the god of thunder, and Loki, the evil god, who followed Zhao King to stop the cursed warriors, were completely shocked by Zhao King's strength. Because when they just met the cursed warriors, it was actually Thor who took the lead. But the result was that Thor was beaten severely by the cursed warriors. Thor, who had Thor's hammer, couldn't beat the strongest warrior of the Dark Elves who used the cursed crystal. If you can't beat it, you can't beat it. Just delay time and wait for the large army of Asgard to come, and then take it down by siege. But the problem is that when Zhao King took action, he easily bound the cursed warrior, and then pinched the cursed warrior into a ball of meat. This fighting power and attack method scared the brothers Thor and Loki on the spot. After everyone gathered together and returned to the hall. Shy'ancha, you three little guys are too powerful. Thor came to Shy'ancha's side and patted his shoulder with emotion. I thought you were the only one who was powerful, but I didn't expect your two brothers and sisters to be so terrifying. We are brothers and sisters, so naturally we are equally powerful. Shy'ancha nodded and said. In fact, according to my mother, the potential they have is greater than mine, because they have inherited chaos magic since birth. As long as they develop it, they will be at the multiverse level, but what I have in my body is only the blood power of the Aesir. What are you talking about? Hearing Shy'ancha say this, Thor immediately became unhappy. What do you mean by only the power of the Aesir bloodline? Is it possible that the power of the Aesir is not enough? The true god, the five great gods, the ancient gods, the celestials, and then the cosmic gods, and our Aesir is just a branch of the cosmic gods. Isn't it not enough? Shy'ancha asked back. What? Thor was confused at this time. What are the true gods and the ancient gods? How come he has never heard of them? As the prince of Asgard, he has been exposed to many things about the cosmic gods since he was a child. He naturally knows about the five great gods and the celestials. The five great gods are definitely stronger than them, but although the celestials are very strong, it doesn't mean that they, the cosmic gods, have no way to fight against them. After all, in the city of Almighty, there are two celestials that often appear. There are indeed some such groups in the universe, but the size and power of the gods do not depend on their origins. Odin walked in from the door. He just heard what Shy'ancha said. Thor didn't know much about the true god, the ancient god and the celestial god, but Odin knew it very well. Especially the ancient god and the celestial god. Odin had had contact with these two groups in the past. I understand this principle, so I just said that the potential is better than mine, but I didn't say that their strength is stronger than mine. Shy'ancha was very confident about this. That's right, big brother, you are a fighting maniac. When we were still playing in the mud, you followed Antela to practice every day. When we started practicing, you had already mastered all the fighting skills, Xiaoyan said with some complaints. When she was a child, she used to feel very depressed about this. Because she was very strong by nature, and she was also a bit willful and capricious in doing things. No matter who she met on weekdays, as long as they were the same age, she could bully anyone. But Shy'ancha was the only one that couldn't be bullied, because Shy'ancha's strength was really stronger than her, and he was only a dozen days older than her. It didn't matter to Xiaoyan that she couldn't beat the super warriors of the previous generation, like Li Qingyun and Suo Dun, because even if they won, they would be known as bullies, and Xiaoyan could still be arrogant. But when she lost to Shy'ancha, she had nothing to say. And she lost very quickly, and was easily beaten. I'm not a battle maniac, I just know that hard work can make up for lack of talent. Shy'ancha was not willing to accept the title Xiaoyan gave him. After all, he didn't like fighting by nature. He actually preferred to be like Zhao King and Xiaoyan, who had been free to do whatever they wanted since childhood. But his mother was Hela, and under Hela's strict requirements and expectations, he could only practice seriously and hard. And he also understood a truth, that some burdens had to be carried by someone after all, and if Zhao King and Xiaoyan didn't want to do it, Then he had to do it. Only when he took on everything could Zhao King and Xiaoyan do whatever they wanted without worries. Well, no matter what, you three are all amazing. Hila seemed to have seen through Xianxia's thoughts, and she didn't let them dwell on these issues. The dark elves have been wiped out. Are you leaving soon? Hila looked at Xianxia. The day they were supposed to part ways a few days ago was finally coming. There's a problem with the multiverse, and we're here to investigate, so we can't stay here for a long time, Xianxia replied. Since you're leaving, I want to give this to you. As Hila spoke, she handed the eternal spear in her hand to Xianxia. This, Xianxia was a little surprised. Although you already have matching weapons and the sword of Xianxia, this eternal spear is the most compatible with the power of the Airseer. With it assisting you, your potential can be further developed by it. As Hila said this, she actually saw that Xianxia was behind Xiaoyan in terms of weapons and equipment. As for the silver wings that Xiaoyan showed today, they were much more advanced and powerful than the flying blades that Xianxia had used before. I am the heir of Asgard. It won't be long before I inherit the eternal spear after I return, Xianxia said. Don't lie to me. If you can really inherit the eternal spear, how come you have no connection with it at all? Hila questioned. I guess the eternal spear is no longer in Asgard. Hila understood that with Xianxia's status and the fact that he was loved by so many people in Asgard, if the eternal spear was still there, he would have come into contact with it a long time ago. But now, Hila brought the eternal spear to Xianxia, but Xianxia had no connection with it at all. This was obviously because they had never had any contact in the past. Chapter 502 The Last Infinity Stone. The Spear of Eternity is indeed no longer in Asgard. When Xianxia was born, Odin had already died. At that time, the most powerful weapon in the entire Asgard was Thor's Stormbreaker, not the Spear of Eternity. Later, he specifically asked and learned that the Spear of Eternity was directly given to his father after Odin's death, and Li Qingyun basically never used the Spear of Eternity after he had it. Xianxia could understand that Li Qingyun did not use the Spear of Eternity. After all, among super soldiers, the use of close-range weapons is not needed much, and Li Qingyun has always used the sword of Xianxia. The Spear of Eternity is lost? How did it get lost? Thor immediately stepped forward to ask. This is the most valuable and powerful weapon in Asgard. Unexpectedly, such an important thing can be lost in another universe. It's not lost, it just went to my father, Xianxia hurriedly explained. In your father's hands, Thor's tone softened a little. As long as it was not lost, it would be the best. However, how come Xianxia never touched it when it was in the hands of his father? My father is good at using swords, and later his fighting style was no longer in the stage of holding weapons, so he basically never used the Spear of Eternity. Maybe my father himself forgot that the Spear of Eternity is in his arsenal, Xianxia sighed, and hearing his words, Thor and Loki were both speechless. This is the Spear of Eternity, the most powerful artifact of Asgard, but in the hands of Xianxia's father, it is a weapon thrown in the warehouse to gather dust. How powerful is Li Qingyun? The Spear of Eternity itself is still very powerful, and it is very compatible with the Airseer bloodline in your body. If you get it and use it as a weapon, it will be a great enhancement for you. Hila didn't care about what kind of weapon was thrown in the warehouse to gather dust or something, she just felt that the Spear of Eternity must be very useful to Xianxia now. I know, but I can't take the Spear of Eternity here. Xianxia still rejected Hila's kindness. The Spear of Eternity is nothing in the super god civilization, but in this universe, in Asgard, it is the best weapon. Therefore, compared to taking it away, Xianxia still hopes that the Spear of Eternity can stay here, so that it can give Hila more and more powerful power. I will tell my father when I go back, and then ask him to give me the Spear of Eternity, Xianxia said. He said this intentionally so that Hila would not have to worry about him. Okay, seeing Xianxia like this, Hila knew that Xianxia really didn't want to take the Spear of Eternity from her, so she had to give up this idea. Then, we'll leave now. Xianxia retreated in front of Zhao King, Xiaoyan and others. He was ready to leave with his brothers and sisters. In this universe, they only have the last soul gem left. After getting the soul gem, they should follow the clues they got from Ancient One and Scarlet Witch and start to investigate in the next universe. Take care on the way, Hila said. Her eyes were full of reluctance, but she knew that this was the path that Xianxia, Zhao King and Xiaoyan had to take. Moreover, even if Xianxia and the others did not investigate, they did not belong to them. In the final analysis, they were all other people's children. It was only because she had the same characteristics as another Hila in different worlds that Xianxia liked her. Goodbye. After that, a space wormhole appeared, and Xianxia and the others disappeared directly in front of Hila. Their favorite offspring had gone, and the next Asgard needed to be managed by their family. They no longer had to worry about continuing to fight each other, because Odin would feel that he owed Hela, and Thor and Loki were not originally suitable to be the king of Asgard. As for Hela, she had a new ambition in her heart, that is, she wanted to find that strange and powerful man in the future, and then give birth to a lovely son like Xianxia with him. But all of this was only a fantasy, because the father of the child she liked was unique in the multiverse. After leaving Asgard, Xianxia's 3 brothers and sisters took Gamora and the other 4, and came directly to the place where the last Infinity Stone was located. This is Vormir, where the Soul Stone is hidden, and it is also a sad place. If Xianxia and the others had not appeared, this would probably be the place where Gamora died in the end, and also the place where the Avengers Black Widow died. Welcome, young men from the super god civilization. When Xianxia and the others approached, a floating man covered in a tattered black robe appeared in front of them. Red Skull, the other party knew the identities of Xianxia and the others, and Xianxia could also see the other party's identity at a glance. Master Xianxia was able to recognize me at a glance, which is really an honor for Red Skull. Red Skull was shocked in his heart, but he was still calm on the surface. As the guide of the Soul Gem, Red Skull was bound by the Soul Gem and protected by the Soul Gem, so he was not afraid that he would be attacked by anyone. His shock was only because the information provided by the Soul Gem showed that the life experiences of the 3 young men in front of him were so powerful. Father once said that the Soul Gem is the least conspicuous of the 6 Infinity Gems because it has never caused any major events in the universe, but in fact, the Soul Gem is the most mysterious of the 6 Infinity Gems, and it is also the most precious one for our super soldiers, Xianxia said, and then walked towards the cliff on his own. He greeted the Red Skull just out of courtesy, but he did not need the Red Skull to lead the way for him, nor did he need the Red Skull to introduce anything to him. They came from the super god civilization, and their father had collected all the Infinity Gems. Therefore, Xianxia and the other 3 also knew how to collect these Infinity Gems. The dark plane space that is completely independent of the dimension needs to use the cosmic membrane of the small universe to be created, and the cosmic body also needs to be completed with a cosmic membrane, and the only thing in the universe that can provide us with a cosmic membrane is the Soul Gem. Zhao King also came forward at this time. Like Xianxia, he was very interested in the Soul Gem. Chapter 503 All gathered. Brothers, we agreed that all 6 Infinity Stones will be given to me. Xiaoying came forward and said to the 2 brothers in a playful and coquettish way. I know, I agreed to give it to you, so I will definitely give it to you. Zhao King nodded. He just expressed those feelings, but he was only impressed by the specialness of the Soul Stone. As for seizing the Soul Stone, they were not very interested. It's not that they don't want to have a small universe of their own like Li Qingyun. But for them, even if they get the Soul Stone now, it is impossible to play the powerful effect like Li Qingyun. First of all, the technology of using the cosmic membrane in the Soul Stone to create a special dark matter plane space and upgrade the universe body is now top secret in the super god civilization. At present, there are only 2 people who really know how to use it. The person who knows these 2 top secret technologies is Li Qingyun himself, and the other is Xianji Wenghexi, who assisted Li Qingyun in researching and developing these technologies. Li Qingyun himself has naturally implemented all of this, but apart from Li Qingyun, even Xianji Wenghexi has not applied these technologies to himself. The reason for not doing so is that the energy of the cosmic membrane is very scarce, and there may be only a little bit between each single universe. Li Qingyun's application has already shrunk the small universe in the Soul Gem he owns. If he or others use it, the small universe of the entire Soul Gem may collapse. Of course, you can also look for new Soul Gems in other multiverses. But the Soul Gem itself exists as the most important energy resource in the universe. If you take it for no reason, it is equivalent to forcibly destroying the universe where the infinite gem originally exists. To destroy a single universe for the sake of becoming stronger, Xianji Wenghexi will not do such a thing. If Hizai does not do it, naturally others cannot do it. As for people like Xianxia, after they obtain all 6 infinite gems, it will also have an impact on the entire universe, and the effect of the impact will depend on the deduction results of the big clock. This deduction process will inevitably consume a lot of energy resources, and after problems arise, Li Qingyun will have to find a way to repair and fill them. His son and daughter are just hanging out outside, but as a father, Li Qingyun cannot ignore it. Some of the tales left behind still need Li Qingyun to clean up for him personally. However, the time for cleaning up must be after Xianxia and the others leave. In this world, is there any father who has an easy life? How can we take out the soul gem now? Xiaoyan looked ahead, looking at the special soul gem hidden in the space. The solution to crack it is in the database of the big clock. While Zhaoqing was talking, he had already retrieved the relevant information and unfolded it in front of everyone. This method requires the power of the reality gem and chaos magic, and it was adjusted and performed by Father with the power of the big clock. We don't have a celestial computer now, so the safest way is for you two to work together. Xianxia looked at the content of the information, and then turned back to Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan. Well, this really requires two people to work together to do it, Zhaoqing nodded. Then come on. Although we don't have a celestial computer, the three of us are all third-generation divine bodies. And we have been learning how to use our abilities since we were young. In terms of experience, we are no less than our father at that time. Xiaoyan was still so confident. Okay, I will send the data to you two separately, and you will start to operate at the same time, Xianxia said, and then used the Eye of Insight to collect all the information. His hands were placed on the shoulders of Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan at the same time, and a large amount of data information began to be infused into their bodies. After the two got the complete data, they immediately adjusted the information they output according to the formula they knew, and then began to control the energy to release. Xiaoyan drove the power of the reality gem, and Zhaoqing used his own chaos magic power. The two forces shot towards the soul gem in the air at the same time. With a continuous bombardment of energy, the soul gem that was originally hidden in the void began to gradually appear. No matter which world it was in, no matter how many times it happened, every time this scene appeared, the Red Skull would feel a palpitation. Only people of Li Qingyun's lineage can use their own power to forcibly break the barrier set by the soul gem, and forcibly take the soul gem out of the space. Soon, with a continuous output of energy, the soul gem hidden in the void finally appeared. It was suspended in the air and appeared in the real universe. At this time, Xianxia no longer needed to continue to provide data to Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan, so he immediately flew out and took the soul gem out of the crack in the void. After getting the soul gem, Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan also stopped. Seeing Xianxia coming back from the front, Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan immediately came up. Here, Xianxia gave the soul gem to Xiaoyan without any hesitation. Thank you, brother. Xiaoyan took the soul gem and immediately said thank you to Xianxia excitedly. Then she took out the other 5 infinite gems in the dark plane space, and together with the soul gem, she embedded them all on the armor of her arm. The 6 infinity stones gathered together and immediately emitted powerful radiation energy, which began to erode Xiaoyan's arm continuously. But Xiaoyan is not an ordinary person. She will not feel such strong discomfort like Banner and Stark in the movie when they put on the Infinity Gauntlet with 6 Infinity Stones. On Xiaoyan's arm, the energy of the 6 Infinity Stones only flashed for a moment, and then quickly calmed down, which means that Xiaoyan has completely endured the radiation effect naturally emitted by the 6 Infinity Stones. Are you sure you want to wear these 6 Infinity Stones directly on your arm? Zhaoqing turned around and looked at the 6 Infinity Stones inlaid on Xiaoyan's armor, and immediately asked, "What's wrong? Isn't it possible?" Xiaoyan looked at Zhaoqing with some doubts. When the 6 Infinity Stones gather together, it can directly realize what you think in your heart according to your thoughts. If you accidentally snap your fingers, wouldn't it be a disaster? Zhaoqing reminded. Xiaoyan hesitated after hearing Zhaoqing's reminder. Chapter 504, Giving You the Last Help. The 6 Infinity Stones have been gathered and directly embedded in the armor on Xiaoyan's arm. If she accidentally snaps her fingers, then what Xiaoyan thought at that time will be realized directly. Although Xiaoyan has 6 Infinity Stones, she originally wanted to collect 6 because her father said he would give her an Infinity Stone. She didn't want to use the Infinity Stones for anything. So, she directly took down the 6 Infinity Stones and put them all into her own dark matter plane space. In the future, she can only summon them when she needs them. We have collected all the Infinity Stones. Next, we have to leave this universe. There is no point for you to follow us. Xianxia turned around and looked at Gamora and the other 4. After Xianxia and the others came to this universe, The first person they met was Gamora, and then she dragged them around the universe. Now that the 6 Infinity Stones have been collected, it is time for Scientia and the others to leave this universe. Aren't you going to deal with Thanos? Gamora asked. She has seen the strength of Scientia and the other 3. Now that Xianwen has obtained all 6 Infinity Stones, they are at their strongest and can easily deal with Thanos. In our universe, Thanos is just like you, a member of our super god civilization. We can help you solve the problem of Infinity Stones, but we can't kill Thanos directly, Xiaoyan said. She is not familiar with Thanos. She has not seen Thanos many times since she was old enough to understand. But the problem is that not seeing or being familiar with him is not the same as directly killing him. So, you plan to leave like this? Star-Lord walked up and asked. This, Xiaoyan looked at Scientia hesitantly. Things like this still depend on Scientia, because Scientia's thinking is more mature, and he is the eldest brother. We can't help you directly, but we can provide you with some weapons so that you can better deal with Thanos, Scientia said. Weapons? What weapons? Rocket Raccoon looked at Scientia with some curiosity. Xiao Qing, Scientia did not answer, but turned his head to look at Zhao King. Zhao King came forward immediately when Scientia called him. He waved his hand, and Star-Lord's spaceship appeared in front of him. I have modified the power system of this spaceship and upgraded it. In addition, I installed a starlight system in the spaceship, which can provide a starlight barrier for your spaceship. Although the starlight barrier is the lowest level defense system in the super god civilization, its defense performance is not bad. Spaceships equipped with starlight barriers will not be damaged even when they are subjected to nuclear-level attacks. Zhao King explained to Star-Lord and Rocket Raccoon some of the places he modified on the spaceship. The defense shield that can't be destroyed by nuclear bombs is actually the lowest level defense system of your super god civilization. Rocket Raccoon felt a little confused at this moment. He suddenly became very curious about how powerful the super god civilization of Scientia's family was. In the super god civilization, in addition to the starlight barrier, there are also space-time barriers, void barriers, and the newly developed chaos shield. All the currently known means of attack cannot destroy the chaos shield, Zhao King explained, and these contents were just illusory words to Rocket Raccoon. He could still think of the second layer space-time barrier, which might be activated by using some abilities of time or space. But the third layer void shield and the last so-called chaos shield were completely beyond his imagination. It's meaningless to say more. Without the basic knowledge of the system, you will need at least tens of thousands of years to develop the second-generation space-time barrier, Zhao King said. The starlight barrier and space-time barrier of the super god universe were developed by the various main god civilizations after spending tens of thousands of years. The entire civilization evolved from the pre-nuclear era to the later aerospace era before mastering the series of protective means such as the starlight barrier. To enter the space-time barrier from the starlight barrier, the entire civilization must at least enter the Lord God era. In the Marvel universe, only the Universe Observer is known to have reached this level. Well, your universe is really a freak. Rocket Raccoon could only sigh helplessly after hearing what Zhao King said. In addition to the defense and power systems, I also modified the weapons that each of you usually use. While Zhao King was talking, he took out some more weapons from the dark matter plane space. These were Gamora's long sword, Star-Lord's energy gun, and Rocket Raccoon's complete set of equipment. Why is there no Groot here? Rocket Raccoon took over his complete set of weapons and equipment and immediately asked about Groot's. Groot himself doesn't use weapons, and he is a special plant life. Even if he is blown to pieces, as long as the vitality of some of his branches is retained, he can grow again, so I didn't prepare any for him, Zhao King replied. That's right, Groot doesn't need it, and you got a whole set, which is much more powerful than one or two of ours, Star-Lord complained. What do you mean mine is the most powerful? Obviously Gamora's is the most powerful. Rocket Raccoon is also a weapons expert, and he can tell which weapon is more powerful at a glance. Well, that's right, if we only talk about the grade and power, Gamora's sword is indeed the most powerful. Zhao King did not refute what Rocket Raccoon said, because this was originally Gamora's most powerful weapon. Your weapons are merely modified on their original basis, with certain enhancements in performance and power, but Gamora's sword is a flame-class weapon that I picked out directly from the arsenal. Flame-class weapons themselves have the ability to mobilize the energy of surrounding stars, and this weapon is equipped with a special sensing system. Only Gamora and those authorized by Gamora can use it. You may not be able to understand the rest for a while, so I will give you the simplest and most intuitive introduction. When needed, you can unleash the power of this sword and condense enough energy. It can easily blow up a huge city with millions of people. Chapter 505 Gamora's Plan. So powerful, Rocket immediately sighed after hearing Zhao King's introduction to the long sword given to Gamora. Even Star-Lord was looking at the long sword in Gamora's hand with envy. The weapon is very powerful, but Gamora, you are not a super soldier after all, and your own defense ability is not enough. If possible, try not to use full power attacks, otherwise you may be affected and blown to death. Zhao King reminded that this flame-level weapon was originally equipped for super soldiers. Although Gamora is stronger than ordinary people, she is still an ordinary person after all. Although the flame-level weapon has been modified in the super god civilization, it can also be used by ordinary people and exert its powerful destructive power. But in this case, ordinary people using the strongest power of the flame-level weapon is basically equivalent to dying together. Imagine that you can only stand on the ground, or at most stand on a tall building or helicopter to use this move, and the range of this move is at least 10 kilometers or even dozens of kilometers. With such a huge range, it is basically impossible for the user to completely avoid the impact. Therefore, if the owner is just an ordinary person in this situation, once this move is performed, it is equivalent to both parties perishing. I understand. After listening to Zhao King's explanation, Gamora naturally understood the reason. Such a powerful weapon, if it is used in her hands without paying any price, it would be a bit unreasonable. Well, if you encounter something that you can't solve at all, it's better to find another way. Don't think about fighting hard. In my father's words, only if you are alive can you have hope. If you lose your life, then you really have nothing. Zhao King is very supportive of his father's theory. Only if you don't die can you live forever, just like playing a game. As long as you don't die, you will eventually have a chance to become a god. I know, if I really encounter some unsolvable problems, I will find a way to find other people to help. In the memory you showed me, didn't I also join forces with a large group of superheroes in the end? Gamora said, while holding the flaming sword in her hand tightly. In fact, she already had an idea in her heart. As long as the power of the flaming sword is really that strong, then if there is really no way to stop Thanos, she can only use this last trick to completely solve everything. Okay, we have done everything we can, and now it's time to leave. Xianxia stepped forward. The weapons they needed had been given, and the 6 Infinity Stones were also obtained by Xian. With this foundation, Xianxia and the others helped Gamora and the others a lot, so they can naturally leave with peace of mind. Take care on the way, Gamora said. Take care on the way, Star-Lord. Rocket Raccoon and Groot the Treeman also waved to the three of them. After Xianxia waved goodbye to them, he asked Xian to use the power of the Infinity Stones to open a space door behind them that can travel through the multiverse. The three siblings did not hesitate at all and went in directly. After the three siblings left, Gamora, Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon and Groot the Treeman gathered together. What should we do next? Rocket Raccoon asked. You have all seen the memories that Xianxia gave us before, and I believe you all know the situation inside, Gamora said. Yes. Rocket Raccoon and Star-Lord nodded at the same time. Then according to our memories, we will first find the Destroyer, and then go to Earth, Gamora said. Go to Earth? Why go to Earth? Star-Lord was a little surprised. He could understand going to find the Destroyer. After all, in his memory, Drax the Destroyer was a member of their Guardians of the Galaxy. But in addition to Drax the Destroyer, there is also Star-Lord's half-sister. Why only find one and not the other? The place where Mantis and Nebula are now is too dangerous. If we go there by ourselves, it may be very dangerous, Gamora said. You mean, we should find more people to join forces with us? Star-Lord seemed to understand what Gamora meant. But the question is, who will join forces with us? Rocket Raccoon can also understand the benefits of joining forces with others. But they were originally the Guardians of the Galaxy. In addition to the people in the Guardians of the Galaxy, who else can they join forces with? It may not be easy for us to join forces with the others. After all, we have to convince them with something that can convince them, but there are two of them that don't need to be so troublesome. Gamora made this suggestion. Of course, she already had an idea in mind. You don't want to find the two people Zhao King and Xiaoyan know, do you? Star-Lord quickly reacted. Yes, the one named Wanda and Pilcher. According to my judgment, Wanda is likely to be the mother of Zhao King and Xiaoyan, And she must have known this. Gamora thought of looking for Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. These two people were specially activated by Zhao King and Xiaoyan, and Zhao King and Xiaoyan inherited Wanda's power in their bodies, which means that Wanda's power must be very powerful. Let's go find them and explain our ideas to them. I believe they will be willing to join forces with us. After all, we are good friends with her son and daughter, Gamora said. That's right. With a relationship between Zhao King and Xiaoyan, we should be able to convince those two to cooperate with us. Star-Lord also fully agreed with Gamora's proposal at this moment. As long as Wanda and Pilcher can be brought in, there will be two more powerful people in their team. With their own strength becoming stronger, they will be more secure when looking for Mantis and Nebula. Maybe they can also use this as an opportunity to solve the two major crises that these two people will bring about. Let's go now and find them on Earth. Rocket Raccoon also understood everything and immediately walked towards the spaceship. Gamora, Star-Lord and Tree Man Groot naturally followed quickly. Behind them, there was another person watching, the Red Skull, who was wearing a cloak and whose body was gradually changing into physical body. So they came from other worlds? I was wondering when such three powerful teenagers appeared on Earth, the Red Skull said, and a gloomy smile appeared on his face at this time. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 506 Zombie Universe. Xianxia, Zhao King and Xiaoyan, who had already left that universe, did not know what Gamora was doing. At this moment, the three of them appeared in a brand new universe, and directly appeared on the Earth in this universe. Is this the Earth? Xianxia looked around with some doubts and asked Zhao King beside him. Yes, this is the Earth. The coordinates in the universe and the records of the Dark Plane data are all correct, Zhao King answered while looking at the information collected in her mind. But why is this planet so desolate? It is completely different from the universe we know. Xiaoyan lowered her head and looked at the barren ground below. An unprecedented sense of panic began to echo in her heart. This planet obviously has some problems. Xianxia's eyes were sharp and he looked around. Open the eye of insight and scan all the conditions on the entire surface. As Xianxia spoke, his eyes began to gradually show a layer of mist. Under the mist, he could see all the conditions of the entire Earth, including what happened in the past and what is happening now. Brother, look ahead. Suddenly, Zhao King's shout came. Xianxia, who was originally using his insight power, immediately retracted his gaze after hearing Zhao King's voice. He looked in the direction Zhao King pointed, and over there, he saw a dense crowd of people. Although the distance was very far and the things he saw were very small, Xianxia could be sure that it was definitely a dense crowd of people. Their state is very wrong, they don't look like normal humans. Zhao King was also looking ahead at this time, and he gave his own judgment on this. That's right, they are not normal humans, but a large group of zombies. While Xianxia was speaking, a set of black dark alloy armor had appeared on his body, and even the helmet was worn tightly. Don't wear regular angel armor, wear a dark alloy suit. Xianxia turned his head and looked at Xiaoyan beside him and said. Got it. Xiaoyan did intend to summon the angel's armor, because that set of armor looked good on her. But now, after Xianxia's special reminder, she definitely couldn't wear that set, she could only change to a dark alloy suit. Because she knew that Xianxia must have a reason for reminding her like this. All three of them put on dark alloy armor, the kind that can cover most areas of the body. However, compared to Xianxia and Zhao King's pure black armor that is more like the heroic army, Xiaoyan still prefers the silver kind, so the style and color of her armor are different from her two brothers. But it doesn't matter. The real key now is to deal with the zombies rushing over. Don't show mercy. As long as they become zombies, they are already dead. There is no need to show mercy to a group of dead people, Xianxia reminded, and in his hand, he had summoned the sword of Xianxia. The red star energy, that is, high-temperature flames, condensed on the outer periphery of the sword of Xianxia is the best to deal with zombies. Just melt their bodies directly. Zhao King naturally understood why Xianxia had the power of flame lingering on the sword. Isn't it just flames? How about we give them a skyblade judgment? Xiaoyan summoned a king's mandate, with wings spread behind him, ready to fly into the sky and launch the skyblade judgment at any time. Don't use the skyblade judgment yet. We need to see what's going on with these zombies. Xianxia rejected Xiaoyan's proposal. The three of them spread their wings and flew into the air at the same time, and the zombies had already rushed below them. These green zombies were screaming at Xianxia and the others crazily, baring their teeth and claws, screaming crazily. Zhaoqing, analyze their zombie genes and find out what's going on. Xianxia frowned, but he didn't plan to take action directly. Instead, he asked Zhaoqing to analyze the other party in more detail. Quantum energy was detected. It should be affected by the special virus in the quantum field, causing the genes to mutate and eventually forming a zombie tide, Zhaoqing said. If this is caused by quantum energy, then the source of this zombie plague may be caused by superheroes. In this case, I'm afraid the entire Earth will fall completely. Xianxia knew very well that on the Earth without super god civilization, superheroes were very powerful, and if superheroes fell, the entire planet would naturally have no chance of survival. Such a world has no need to exist. Destroy the entire planet and get rid of everything here. Xianxia did not hesitate at all. He raised the Xianxia sword in his hand and began to quickly gather powerful energy. However, almost at this critical moment, a huge figure appeared in front of them. He waved his fist and hit Xianxia and the other three fiercely. The wasp, Xianxia saw this figure and immediately recognized it. Zhaoqing, Xianxia looked at Zhaoqing who was standing aside. Zhaoqing heard the eldest brother's call, and naturally did not hesitate at all. He raised his hand and summoned a god-killing level dark silver sword, and stabbed it towards the wasp's head. The dark silver sword pierced directly into her head, and a strong explosion immediately broke out. The wasp instantly became a headless zombie and fell backwards. However, just as the wasp was solved, other super zombies also appeared. Spider-Man zombies and Winter Soldier zombies were using their best combat abilities to attack Xianxia and his team. Xiaoyan, Xianxia looked at Xiaoyan on the other side. Seeing this, Xiaoyan naturally took action immediately. Silver wings were summoned by her, and countless silver blades were flying in all directions. Not to mention Spider-Man zombies and Winter Soldier zombies, even the ordinary zombies below who tried to climb up the ladder were quickly harvested by the silver blades. However, seeing that everything was under control, Xianxia had begun to gather enough powerful power to blow up the entire planet at once, when a red figure appeared. Behind those zombies, the zombie Wanda, whose whole body was wrapped in red energy, was flying towards this side quickly. Seeing this scene, Xianxia frowned immediately. Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan, who were originally launching attacks continuously, had stopped at this moment. The scene that Wanda once saw, in the minds of the three of them, they all thought of the scene that Wanda saw when she awakened her ability in the previous universe. Chapter 507 The Only Survivor. The appearance of zombie Wanda made the three siblings all stunned. They all knew that if everyone on this earth turned into zombies, Wanda would probably become a zombie too, but when they really saw Wanda, they remembered the scenes that Wanda saw in the previous universe when she awakened her abilities. Among the 4 scenes that Wanda saw at that time, there was a scene where zombie Wanda appeared. The Ancient One once said that the person who controls all this behind the scenes has a certain connection with chaos magic, and among the people who are related to chaos magic, the most direct one is all the Scarlet Witches in the multiverse. Xianxia began to connect all these clues together. If all the Scarlet Witches appear together, who is the strongest? Xianxia turned his head and looked at Zhaoqing. Although he is the eldest brother, he knows very well that Zhaoqing is actually smarter than him in terms of brains. Zhaoqing has all the knowledge and is more proficient in the application of super god technology. This is also the reason why Xianxia would let Zhaoqing take charge every time he encounters something that needs to be analyzed, as well as the previous modification of weapons and equipment for the Guardians of the Galaxy. Mother once said that her power is strongest when her emotions are the strongest, but father once said that a mother who has completely lost her mind is the most terrifying, Zhaoqing said. That is to say, if you look for a person with the most powerful chaotic magic energy in the multiverse, apart from father, the Lord of the Dimension who has already controlled the chaotic dimension, the strongest person must be the zombie Scarlet Witch who is completely out of control. Zhaoqing did not call Wanda of this universe by her name, because his biological mother is also called Wanda. So now he just calls Scarlet Witch. Let's retreat, keep a distance from the zombie Scarlet Witch, and then keep a close eye on her every move. Xianxia put away the long sword in his hand, and he spread his wings and flew directly to higher sky. Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan saw Xianxia doing this, and they also put away their weapons and flew to high altitude, reaching a distance that the zombie Scarlet Witch could not reach at all. After retreating to that height, the three of them opened the Eye of Insight and began to monitor the situation on the Earth, especially focusing on observing the situation of the zombie Scarlet Witch. "Brother, I detected a life parameter," Xiaoyan said. "Give me the coordinates," Xianxia said, and then Xiaoyan gave the coordinates to Xianxia. Xianxia investigated according to the coordinates and soon found the owner of this life parameter, who turned out to be Dr. Banner, who was hiding in a cave on an island. "It's Banner," Xianxia said. "Maybe his Hulk gene prevented him from being infected by the zombie virus," Zhaoqing said his guess. "You continue to pay attention to the situation of the zombie Scarlet Witch. I will bring him back." After Xianxia finished speaking, he turned around and flew towards where Dr. Banner was. At his speed, it took less than a minute to reach the area where Banner was. Banner, who was hiding in the cave, was already exhausted and panting. But when he heard the movement outside the cave, he stood up immediately and looked towards the direction of the cave entrance. "Don't be nervous, I'm not a zombie." Xianxia sensed the situation in the cave and immediately reminded him. "Not zombies? Are there still living people in this world now?" Banner's tone was a little excited. He walked out of the cave and saw Xianxia standing in front of him. A teenager, wearing a full set of armor, was also wrapped in a layer of special electromagnetic energy. "Who are you? How did you survive?" Banner looked at Xianxia in confusion. He couldn't figure out how a teenager could survive this zombie tide at this time. After all, even Wakanda, the last safe area they knew, had been conquered by zombies. The entire Earth is now actually a dead star full of zombies. "I am not from this universe. I come from outside the multiverse. I just came to your world to investigate some things," Xianxia explained. "The planet you're on has been completely polluted. I originally planned to destroy the entire planet and then leave, but now there are some problems. The manipulator behind the things we are investigating may also have set his sights on your world, so we need to observe it again, but no matter what, this planet will be destroyed in the end, so I will take you to the universe and then send you to other planets to live," Xianxia said. Although the Earth has now completely turned into a zombie planet, the universe is so big that not all places have become zombie planets. For example, Zender, the Kree Empire, etc. With Banner's ability and the Hulk in his body, he can survive on any planet. In this situation, it is indeed the only way to destroy the entire Earth is to be the safest for the universe. Banner felt a little sad, but he also understood that this was the best solution at present. The Earth is now a zombie nest. Everyone who enters here will be infected and eventually become a zombie, even Thanos with 5 infinite gems. If we keep this planet, someone else in the universe will accidentally drive a spaceship here and die here. If someone accidentally drives these zombies to other planets, they may also pollute the planets outside. But this is the Earth after all, the planet where Banner was born. He will still feel sad if he sees it being destroyed. "I have some food here, fill your stomach first, and then I will give you a spacesuit, and you can go to space with us." Xianxia took out some food from the dark matter plane and sent it to Banner. Banner saw the food and naturally ate it without hesitation. Xianxia stood aside, not saying anything, just waiting quietly. At the same time, Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan, who were observing Wanda's situation in the universe, suddenly frowned and turned around to look into the space. "Come out, you who are behind the scenes." Zhaoqing's expression was very serious at the moment, and he even crushed a special device in his hand. Zhaoqing already knew the situation in front of him, because this was exactly what Wanda saw in the previous universe. There were only Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan, and they were shrouded by a black shadow. Since the siblings came out to investigate, this was the only time that Xianxia was not around, and there were only Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan here, and no other people. Chapter 508 The Manipulator Behind the Scenes. "Your father is very powerful. I didn't want to provoke you, but you insisted on pestering me." A voice came from space, and then a golden portal appeared in front of them. In the portal, Dark Doctor Strange slowly walked out. Doctor Strange? Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan didn't know Dark Doctor Strange, but they all knew that the one in front of them was Doctor Strange, but they didn't know which universe Doctor Strange was from. "Yes, it's me," Dark Doctor Strange answered. "Aren't you on the side of superheroes? How could you be the initiator of the destructive incident that affected the entire multiverse?" Xiaoyan was a little confused. He couldn't figure out why a superhero who should be a decent person became a villain now. "I didn't want to cause damage. If I caused such an impact, I can only blame your father for replacing the god of the underworld, Zizan. in the chaotic dimension, which made the magic that was originally easily achieved become variable. Dark Doctor Strange, his original real purpose was to capture a large number of strong people from the multiverse, and then use these people as a basis to create an opportunity to restore his original universe. The result of doing so, although it would kill the lives of those he captured, would not involve the universe where the super god civilization is located. Because the universe where the super god civilization is located has long become the most special existence in the multiverse due to the existence of the super god civilization, and has nothing in common with other multiverses. However, the change of the chaotic dimension has caused the multiverse as a whole to deviate, and the plan of Doctor Strange Dark must also be changed accordingly. This is why the last incident alarmed Li Qingyun. In order to prevent your father from coming out to cause trouble for me, you two should come with me. As long as he does not intervene at that time, I guarantee that you can spend this period of time safely and return to your father intact in the end. After Doctor Strange Dark finished speaking, he waved his hands and condensed magic to cover Zhao King and Xian. Clang. A strong sword energy instantly broke through the air, and the magic condensed by Doctor Strange Dark was instantly dispersed. Don't try to hurt my brother and sister, Xianxia roared, waving the sword of Xianxia and flew towards Dark Doctor Strange angrily. As expected of Li Qingyun's son, he is so powerful, Dark Doctor Strange sighed, but his movements did not stop at all. The magic hand gestures were constantly pinched, and countless energy ropes and lightning were tied to the place where Xianxia and others were. Xianxia, Zhao King and Xian did not dare to be negligent. They stimulated all their energy, formed a protective shield around their bodies, and summoned their own weapons at the same time, and began to counterattack towards the location of Dark Doctor Strange. Banner was surrounded by Xianxia and the other two at this moment. At this moment, he was facing this level of battle and could not intervene at all. Even if he transformed into the Hulk form, he could not participate. The four people in front of him were too strong, especially the Dark Doctor Strange on the opposite side. The magic he used was even more powerful than that of the zombie Wanda. He is so powerful. His power is many times stronger than that of Doctor Strange in our super god universe, Xiao sighed. In their universe. In the super god civilization, Doctor Strange is a top 10 powerful existence. Even if he is one of the top 10 powerful people in the super god civilization, if the three of them join forces, they should be able to fight back and forth with each other. But now, the three of them are facing the Dark Doctor Strange in front of them. Although they have used their weapons to fight back, they are still crushed by the opponent. They can basically only passively defend now. Hold on. I have crushed the token that my father gave me to summon him. My father will definitely sense our situation and come to support us as soon as possible, Zhao King said. You called your father? Xianxia turned around and looked at Zhao King in surprise. They came out this time to prove themselves. Why did Zhao King call their father just now when they just met the real owner? Doesn't this mean that they are not capable of handling such things? The opponent's power is very strong. With the current power of the three of us, there is no way to compete with it. Zhao King knew what Xianxia was thinking, but at this time, he would definitely give priority to their safety. Don't be so anxious next time. We haven't tried it yet. How can we know that it must not work? Xianxia's tone was a little unhappy. Although he understood why Zhao King did this, he didn't want to be looked down upon by his father. He wanted to prove to Li Qingyun that he was capable and capable. It's a good thing to have the courage to challenge difficulties, but taking risks just because you have a strong personality is not the right choice. A gentle voice came, and a gentle force directly enveloped the three siblings at this moment. In an instant, the energy that was originally pressing on them all dissipated, and the pressure from the Dark Doctor Strange had been completely resolved. Father, the three siblings turned around at the same time and looked forward, where a tall figure gradually appeared. Who else could this person be but Li Qingyun? Li Qingyun, the Dark Doctor Strange on the opposite side saw Li Qingyun appearing here, and his expression became very ugly. Strange, you are such a grown-up, it is not appropriate to bully a child, right? Li Qingyun did not look back at Xianxia and the other three, but looked at Dark Doctor Strange first. I didn't bully them, they just wanted to mess up my plan. Dark Doctor Strange had actually stopped attacking. Li Qingyun was already here, and if he continued to fight, Dark Doctor Strange did not think he would have the possibility of winning. Your plan? What are you going to do? Li Qingyun did not know what Doctor Strange's plan was, because he had traveled through time for a long time, and he had lost his gut's perspective on many subsequent plot developments. However, with his current ability, if he came to investigate in person, he would definitely be able to quickly grasp all the information, instead of like now. Nothing. Dark Doctor Strange did not answer. He formed a seal with both hands at the same time, and a portal appeared behind him, taking him away directly. Chapter 509. This is your mission. Father, why didn't you stop him? Xiaoyan asked doubtfully, looking at the Dark Doctor Strange who had already left. Do you really want me to solve this matter this time? Li Qingyun turned around and looked at his 3 children. No. Xiaoyan was still hesitating, but Xianxia had already stepped forward and expressed his attitude. The person behind all this has appeared, but it is still unclear what he is doing. You should continue to investigate, right? Li Qingyun asked, but he was very satisfied with Xianxia's reaction at this time. As a man, you need to do things from beginning to end. Well, we will investigate all the truth ourselves, just like the mission we accepted before we came out, Xianxia said seriously. Very good, Li Qingyun praised, then raised his hand and threw a spear out. This is the eternal spear, you take it, so that people won't say that I am taking your things and wasting them, Li Qingyun complained. Although he never showed up, he saw everything his 3 children experienced. He knew everything that Tila in the previous universe said to Xianxia. Xianxia looked at the eternal spear in his hand and naturally guessed it all. But even though he knew all this, he still felt warm in his heart. His father said that he wanted the 3 children to come out and experience life, but in the end, his father was still concerned about their safety. In fact, everything they experienced at this moment was under the watchful eyes of Li Qingyun. Thank you, father, Xianxia said, while putting the eternal spear behind his back. In the armor behind him, a device specially used to hang a long spear appeared directly. Xianxia actually planned to bring the eternal spear with him directly, instead of putting it in the dark matter plane space. Also, take this crystal ball with you. Li Qingyun waved his hand and threw a crystal ball, exactly the same as the one that Zhao King had crushed before to Xiaoyan. You didn't ask for anything from me before, so now this thing is what you asked for from me. Also, remember what I told you. Unless you crush the crystal ball and call me, I will never help you. So don't think that I know your situation at any time and you can be careless. Li Qingyun said that the basic conditions of his power cannot be changed. Even though Xianxia and Zhao King now understand that they, as a father, have been watching, they must also understand the true meaning of the test. Got it, father, Zhao King said, and took the crystal ball. Regardless of whether Xiaoyan agreed or not, Zhao King knew that they needed the crystal ball. Who are you? Suddenly, Banner, who had been behind Xianxia and the other 3, came out. He was completely confused when Xianxia brought him here. He saw Dr. Strange Dark and a simple battle between Dr. Strange Dark and the 3 teenagers in front of him. And Li Qingyun, who is obviously the father of the 3 teenagers, must have extremely powerful power. Because Dr. Strange ran away just after Li Qingyun appeared, the 3 powerful teenagers in front of them were extremely respectful to their father. My name is Li Qingyun, and I'm the father of the 3 of them, Li Qingyun introduced himself. Dr. Banner, I'm glad to see you who is rational in this world. Li Qingyun walked forward and stretched out his right hand to Banner. Hello. Banner naturally knew what Li Qingyun meant, so he stretched out his hand and shook it with him. You have very powerful power, right? I wonder if you can help save the Earth now. Banner understood that if there was anyone in this world who could save the Earth today, it must be the man in front of him. Yes, father, you must have the ability to change the situation in this world, right? Xiaoyan also spoke. She thought of the Scarlet Witch who turned into a zombie. That was Wanda from another world who looked exactly like her mother. Some things can't be forced. If I reverse everything in this world, the entire timeline will be distorted, and a new timeline and multiverse will be born, and it is very likely to collide directly with this world. Li Qingyun knew what Xiaoyan and Banner were thinking, but he would not change everything here. It's not that he can't do it, but if he does so, Li Qingyun will need to spend a lot of time and energy to reverse the pattern of the entire universe, just like facing the Marvel Cinematic Universe where the super god civilization is located. Is it really the only way? Banner sighed helplessly. Although it's cruel, this is the fact, Li Qingyun said. The best solution now is the same as what Xianxia mentioned to you before. From now on, you go to the universe to find a new planet to live, and then we will completely destroy this planet. As for the Earthlings in this world, in fact, if you want, you can still restore it. Really? Banner looked at Li Qingyun excitedly. Being able to restore the blood of the Earthlings can be said to be a good ending for him, the last Earthling now. Captain Marvel is also an Earthling, and she is now in the large Magellanic Cloud. You can go find her, and then the two of you will shoulder the responsibility of reviving the bloodline of the entire Earthlings. Banner now understood what Li Qingyun meant by reviving the bloodline of the Earthlings. In fact, there are still some Earthlings scattered in the universe over the years, Li Qingyun said, and almost at the same time, he turned and looked at the Earth. A flash of red light flashed in his eyes, and then in an instant, the entire Earth began to collapse, and the entire planet began to dissolve instantly. However, after it collapsed and dissolved, it quickly began to recover, and it was not only a desolate appearance, it became a beautiful blue and green planet that was exactly the same as before it was destroyed. Banner watched all this in shock. He clearly saw the entire process of the entire Earth from destruction to rebirth, as if the entire Earth had been thoroughly baptized and reborn. Banner turned back excitedly, but Li Qingyun, Xianxia, Zhaoqing, and Xiaoyan had disappeared, and only one spaceship was left there. He walked into the spaceship, and on the display screen of the spaceship, there was a screen with the coordinates of the survivors of other Earths in the universe. Thank you. Banner understood that this was the last help provided by Li Qingyun's family to him. Chapter 510 Already used to it. Li Qingyun had already left the Earth with his 3 children, Xianxia, Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan. They were standing in a void space. He opened a space portal and let Xianxia and the other 2 enter it to go to the next universe related to the layout of the Dark Doctor. After sending the 3 children away, another portal appeared in front of Li Qingyun, and Wanda walked out of the portal. Should you go to the M716 universe next? Wanda asked. The 3 children have completely messed up the world over there. If I don't go, there's a high possibility that the world over there will eventually be destroyed due to the deviation of the timeline, Li Qingyun replied. Since you are going there, why not live a good life with me and Hela over there? Wanda's tone was a little helpless. Are you asking your husband to have children with someone else? Li Qingyun looked at Wanda in surprise. I know myself. After seeing 2 such cute children, I will definitely not let go. Wanda naturally didn't like her husband to be shared by others, but she knew her own temper. If he knew that he had 2 lovely children, but he could not wait for them, he would go crazy in the future. Wanda's search for relatives, these 5 words flashed through Li Qingyun's mind. We all have eternal life now, so we can spend as much time as we want with each other. It doesn't matter if we share a little from time to time. Besides, aren't there enough people sharing with me now? Wanda looked at Li Qingyun with a tone of blame. Li Qingyun felt helpless. There was really no way to explain this. There are indeed more and more women around Li Qingyun now, not only the original few, but Morgana also found an opportunity to join in during the time when Xianxia and the others were away. The number of people in Li Qingyun's big family is increasing. I hope our children will not be like you, Wanda sighed helplessly, then turned around and walked into the portal and left this universe. Li Qingyun stood there, scratching his head awkwardly, and after a while, he opened another portal and headed towards the previous universe that Xianxia and the others had been to, which was the M716 universe that Wanda just mentioned. The destruction of the universe is not affected by the size of the parameter, but by the specific event itself. The 6 infinite gems of M716 are the main line of the universe, so the impact is huge after they are lost. The zombie universe is already a dead world, and the destruction of the Earth will not lead to the destruction of the universe. Instead, it can make the universe more stable. After all, the source of danger has disappeared. Therefore, Li Qingyun needs to go to the M716 universe to deal with some details, but the zombie universe does not need to care about it. On the other side, Xianxia, Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan, who left the zombie universe, have come to a very special world. Here, Hela, Thor and Loki have a very good relationship, and they rule the Earth. Wanda has become their royal magician. This world is much better than the previous 2 we went to, Xiaoyan sighed as he looked at the environment here. Well, everything is developing well, and we don't need to intervene at all. Zhaoqing also nodded at this moment, expressing his approval of all this. We will be teleported here, and the situation must not be that simple. Xianxia is not as optimistic as his 2 younger brothers and sisters. They came here to investigate Doctor Strange's real purpose, and now Li Qingyun opened a space portal for him and sent him here. There must be some special reason. That's right, This place is not as peaceful as you see. A voice suddenly appeared behind the three people. As the three turned around, they found that the one who appeared in front of them was actually Scarlet Witch. However, this Scarlet Witch was obviously older than any they had seen before, and her energy was very stable and powerful. "I know you, the time travel rescuers from the multiverse," Scarlet Witch said. "Time travel rescuers? Who gave us this title?" Xianxia was surprised by this. They did travel between parallel universes and did a lot of things. But they only went to 2 universes in total, and they did so for a short time. How could someone suddenly know their existence and give their team a name? "It's me." Behind Scarlet Witch, a woman wearing a star-spangled outfit came out. The shield she carried on her back was the same vibranium shield used by Captain America. "Who is she?" Xiaoyan looked at the woman who suddenly appeared, but was a little confused. "Captain Carter, the girlfriend of Captain Rogers, but it seems that in the universe she is in, Rogers did not become Captain America, but she inherited the title." Zhao King mobilized the Eye of Insight and immediately investigated the detailed information. "In the universe she is in, it means that she is not from this universe." Xianxia noticed a key point in Zhao King's words. "Yes, from the data investigated by the Eye of Insight, she is not from this universe," Zhao King replied. "Captain Carter was summoned by me through chaos magic to solve the crisis of the universe being swallowed," Scarlet Witch explained. Then, "Captain Carter, how do you know who we are?" Xianxia turned his eyes to Captain Carter. "The Cosmic Observer told me. He said that there are 3 teenagers in the multiverse who are also investigating the multiverse crisis. He also said that you have very powerful power and may become the key to help us solve this crisis." Captain Carter had contact with the Cosmic Observer. It was because of the information provided by the Cosmic Observer that Captain Carter knew that there were 3 such powerful teenagers in the universe. Cosmic Observer. Xianxia knew about the Cosmic Observer because there was also a Cosmic Observer in their universe, and that Cosmic Observer had a very close relationship with their super god civilization. It should be the Cosmic Observer Sox. "Many years ago, my father worked with him and eliminated the Infinite Ultron together." Zhao King quickly retrieved the relevant information. "You actually know the Cosmic Observer. You just said that your father had worked with a Cosmic Observer. Then aren't the identities of the 3 of you very terrifying?" Carter suddenly realized that the 3 teenagers in front of him might not only have special abilities, but their identities and backgrounds would be even more special than their own abilities. Chapter 511 Instinctive Reaction. There's no need to tell you in detail about our identities. Xianxia didn't plan to reveal his identity in this world, because under the current circumstances, he might be able to learn more detailed information without revealing his identity. "Okay, it seems that I was a little too excited and gossipy. Carter didn't mean to get to the bottom of it. Captain Carter seems to be much more cheerful than Agent Carter in our world," Zhao King said. "The development of each universe is different, and it's normal for people to be different," Xianxia said. "Yes," Zhao King nodded in response. He naturally knew this truth, but he was a little curious to see such a cheerful Captain Carter. Let's go to Odin Manor now. There's a party going on there. We have to go there to report the latest situation to the Queen and her brothers," Scarlet Witch reminded. She is now retainer of the Odin family, and she is considered a subordinate of Hela. The purpose of her summoning Captain Carter was to use Captain Carter's ability to figure out the truth of the world and find a solution to the problem. Now there are 3 more young men with mysterious identities and backgrounds and powerful powers, so she is naturally more happy to introduce them to the king. Carter and Xianxia had no objection to Scarlet Witch's proposal. So, a group of people quickly followed Scarlet Witch to the Palace of Asgard. At this moment, a banquet was taking place in the palace. Loki was performing on the stage, and Hela was sitting on the throne admiring everything. Thor was also watching from the audience, but his eyes were obviously not all on Loki, but on the surrounding environment. Suddenly, a crack appeared in the air, and a mysterious force emanated from it. Loki, who was performing on the stage, was immediately dragged by this force and flew into the air. "Watch me!" Carter rushed out directly, grabbed a rope, tied a circle at one end of the rope, and put it towards Loki in the air. The rope successfully caught Loki, and then with Carter's strength, he was easily pulled down. Just when everyone wanted to breathe a sigh of relief, Hela, who was sitting on the throne, was also chosen by the force. But this time, before Carter could make a move, Xianxia spread his angel wings and flew out. He hugged Hela in midair and flew towards the ground. "Don't do bad things," an angry voice came from midair. You want to take her away from me? No way. Xianxia turned his eyes to Xiaoyan while speaking. Give me the right to use the silver wings, Xianxia shouted, and Xiaoyan immediately operated in the dark plane after hearing Xianxia's words, and provided Xianxia with the right to use the silver wings. Almost at the same time, a large number of octopus-like tentacles stretched out from the sky to where Xianxia and Hila were. Brother, it's done, Xiaoyan shouted loudly. Xianxia heard Xiaoyan's voice and immediately looked back at the sky with a serious expression. A pair of huge silver wings appeared there, and then countless silver flying knives were separated from the wings and cut towards those tentacles. The tentacles touched the silver blades and were cut apart instantly. Damn it, a roar came, and the crack in the sky disappeared at this time. The people on the other side already understood that with Xianxia here, his original plan would not succeed. Xianxia saw that the people on the other side gave up, and he also put away his silver wings. The two landed on the ground, and the brothers Thor and Loki came over here at the first time. Sister, are you okay? The two asked anxiously, and Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan, who also came over, were also looking at Xianxia at this moment. However, compared to the panic of Thor and Loki, Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan were very calm. The contrast in age and behavior made the atmosphere at the scene a little weird. Zhaoqing, can you analyze the origin of those tentacles? Xianxia asked. No, but from what we have experienced so far, this should be controlled by the Dark Doctor Strange. Zhaoqing did not have accurate analysis data, but his intuition told him that the person behind all this must be the Dark Doctor Strange. I think it's him too. Xianxia and Zhaoqing felt the same way about this. The person who would do such a thing in the multiverse at this time might be this person. Young man, thank you for your help just now. Hila walked out of the crowd and came directly to Xianxia's side. Nothing, I just happened to meet him. Xianxia looked at Hila in front of him, but said calmly. The more you experience, the calmer you can be. With the experience in M716 and the knowledge in the zombie universe, he now understands when to control his emotions. There are countless multiverses and countless Hila. He can't treat everyone he meets as his mother and do all kinds of things for this Hila, right? Sometimes, not disturbing is the best protection. Since she is not his mother, there is no need to tell her the situation. However, when he saw Hila in danger just now, he still took action subconsciously. This kind of instinctive thing, he still needs to slowly correct it. You are very special, can you tell me your name? Hila asked. Xianxia. Li Qianxia, Xianxia replied. Li Qianxia? This name is quite domineering, but it doesn't match your handsome appearance, Hila said. The name is just a code name, and it's the name my mother gave me, and I like it very much, Xianxia said, and Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan also agreed with his point of view, especially Zhaoqing. When ordinary people hear the name Zhaoqing, they think it is a girl's name, but there is no way, this is what her mother gave him. Wanda had just given birth to Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan at that time, and Li Qingyun was away during the time when Wanda was pregnant. Because of missing him, Wanda directly split Li Qingyun's name into two and gave it to the two children. Now Zhaoqing has grown up, and this name is becoming less and less suitable for him. But Zhaoqing never said he wanted to change it, because he knew that this name represented his mother's love for his father, so he was unwilling to change it all. You are also very powerful. Do you want to join us in Asgard and become our warrior? Hila threw an olive branch to Xianxia. No, we are just passers-by, and we will leave soon after the things here are over. Xianxia rejected Hila's invitation. Chapter 512, The Specialty of the 1602 Universe. From what you just said, do you know who is the mastermind behind all this? Thor stepped forward. He didn't have any special feelings towards Xianxia. He only knew that Xianxia had the ability to fight against the person behind the crack just now. Moreover, after returning to the ground, Xianxia and Zhaoqing clearly mentioned who the mastermind was in their conversation. The truth behind the destruction of this world is the conflict of time and space, which has nothing to do with the person we just fought with. Zhaoqing stepped forward and answered Thor's question. Conflict of time and space. Thor was a little confused. Someone had just tried to forcefully attack Hela, so why did they say that all this had nothing to do with the person who intervened behind? The person who just took action should have wanted to stop my intervention in time and space. He wanted the world to develop according to the original ending, and it was not him who created all this, Zhaoqing continued to explain. Since someone took action, he must be the mastermind behind the scenes. If you don't say it, do you want to cover him up? Thor's face began to darken. The Thor in this universe is not the Thor in the universe where the super god civilization is located. Arrogance and self-righteousness are his normal operations. Thor, don't be so anxious. It's not too late to listen to what they say first, Hela spoke. No matter what Zhao King and the others are, Xianxia did save her just now. As for her savior, she naturally couldn't let Thor and the others look down on Xianxia and his companions. Yes, sister, Thor may be arrogant, but he respects Hela very much. At least for now, Hela is the king of this country, and Thor is just a prince. In this case, no matter who it is, they must obey Hela's orders. Young man, tell us what you think about this matter. As long as you are right, we will fully support you. Hela looked at Zhao King and said. Yes, Zhao King agreed, and then he directly opened a control interface in midair. Various data and symbols on the interface were constantly changing, and Zhao King quickly investigated the relevant information between these changing symbols. According to my investigation, there should be a person who accidentally traveled through time and space in this world. His long stay caused a very serious deviation in the timeline, which in turn disturbed the entire time and space. If this disturbed time and space cannot be repaired, then the entire universe will be completely destroyed in the near future, Zhao King analyzed. Everyone who heard this was shocked at the moment. The entire universe will be destroyed, which means that everyone here will die in the end. This is the end of the world. Cosmic Observer, what do you think about this? Xianxia turned around and looked at a corner not far away. Just now, Xianxia felt that there was a powerful force peeking at everything here, and this force, according to his judgment, should be the Cosmic Observer. As expected of that man's child, it is really powerful. He discovered my existence so quickly. The Cosmic Observer walked towards Xianxia, but he still used a special energy to hide himself, so that most people in this venue could not see his existence. My identity cannot be known to everyone. Please don't tell everyone about my situation, the Cosmic Observer said, and he also looked at Captain Carter next to him. Here. Apart from the three brothers and sisters of Xianxia, Captain Carter was the only one who could notice the existence of the Cosmic Observer. How about we find a quiet place and talk alone, the Cosmic Observer suggested. Okay, Xianxia agreed, and then he turned his head to look at Zhao King next to him and winked at him. Seeing Xianxia's actions, Zhao King understood that he was going to find a reason, so he immediately looked at Hela. Queen, my investigation still needs time. Can you find me a quiet room so that I can study and investigate it again? Zhao King asked Hela. Hela didn't know the existence of the Cosmic Observer. When she heard Zhao King say this, she agreed directly. Okay, Wanda, you lead them to a place suitable for them to live and help them study this, Hela said to the Scarlet Witch. Yes, Your Majesty, the Scarlet Witch agreed, and then made an invitation gesture, asking Xianxia and the others to follow her. Xianxia and the others naturally would not refuse, and immediately followed the Scarlet Witch and walked out of the banquet. After they all left, Thor walked up to Hela. Sister, why do you trust them so much? They just concealed something from us, Thor asked in confusion. I know they must have concealed something, but they just saved me and Loki. You saw it with your own eyes, didn't you? Hela said. She actually didn't know why she felt so trustful of them, and especially for Xianxia, she could even trust unconditionally. Without knowing that Xianxia was actually her own child from another universe in the multiverse, she could only understand the generation of this trust as the relationship between Xianxia and saving her just now. Xianxia and others who left the banquet were soon led by the Scarlet Witch to a remote room, and after arriving here, the Cosmic Observer appeared again. You should be Socks. Zhao King looked at the Cosmic Observer in front of her and asked directly. Yes, my name is Socks, the Cosmic Observer replied. Socks? Space observers have names. Captain Carter was a little surprised. There is not only one space observer. In our universe, there is a space observer named Socorro. He is a special guest in our super god civilization, Zhao King replied. Only in your super god civilization can we space observers not care about our identities and directly contact your civilization. Socks felt a little helpless about this. Space observers are always bystanders in any universe. But only in the super god civilization, they, the space observers, do not need to hide their identities deliberately, because in the super god civilization, they have more powerful technological capabilities than space observers. Not only is Li Qingyun so powerful, but even some other people in the civilization now have powerful combat capabilities comparable to space observers. In this case, It makes no sense for them, the space observers, to hide their identities. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 513, The Angry Cosmic Observer. Well, it seems that the identities of you three teenagers are really very special. Captain Carter looked at Shyansha and the other two, and became more and more curious about their identities. She originally thought that she was special enough because she had been traveling in the multiverse for a long time. But she didn't expect that Shyansha and the other three were even more special than herself. Now it's not a question of whose identity is entangled. The key now is that we have to find the source of the destruction of the universe as soon as possible. Scarlet Witch spoke. There are so many people here, but she is the only native of this universe. She can't just watch the universe being destroyed. This universe has reached the brink of cosmic destruction. Even I can't see a way to save it. The cosmic observer shook his head helplessly. His purpose of coming here was originally just to take Carter away. Now he appeared in front of Scarlet Witch only because of the three unexpected visitors of Shyansha. Isn't it just that a time traveler appeared in this world? Can't we just find him out? Xiaoyan looked at the cosmic observer with some contempt. In the records of the super god civilization, it is said that the cosmic observers are a group of very special beings. It is said that each of them has the same strength as the gods, that is, they are at the same level as the 10 strongest people of their super god civilization. But now, he can't even handle such a small situation. Socks was a little depressed at the moment. He was not really completely helpless. Although he couldn't see who the time traveler was, he could still try to find him with the help of some special props. But his identity as a cosmic observer prevented him from interfering too much with the operation of the multiverse. Originally, he could face all this with an attitude of detachment, but now that Xiaoyan said this, if he really did nothing, it would seem that his group was a little useless. Socks, don't worry about Xiaoyan's words. She has been so willful since she was a child. Shyansha saw the embarrassment of Socks and quickly spoke to smooth things over. Yes, the ability of the cosmic observer is still very strong. If you are really determined to do something, you can definitely do it. It's just that your duty is to observe the universe. Under normal circumstances, even if the universe is destroyed, you will not participate. Zhao King also understood the current situation and hurried to explain. After hearing what Zhao King and Shyansha said, the cosmic observer Socks's face finally recovered, otherwise he really didn't know how to deal with the situation at this time. Well, I'm glad you can understand, Socks nodded and said. Since you have a way, just deal with it yourself. My presence here has already affected the development trajectory of the universe. I'll go back first. Socks didn't stay for too long. After saying this, he disappeared directly. Looking at the place where Socks left, Captain Carter and Scarlet Witch shook their heads helplessly, and Shyansha turned around and glared at Xiaoyan. Seeing this scene, Xiaoyan also knew that it was his previous actions that made the cosmic observer a little embarrassed, so he could only smile bitterly and lower his head. She had this character since she was young, and it was not something that could be changed. Shyansha knew this, so even though he was angry, he did not blame her too much. Zhao King, tell me about the current situation. With your skills, can you directly investigate the time traveler hidden in this universe? Shyansha himself did not have this skill, because he was actually good at fighting, not various technologies. Zhao King was the one who was best at studying various technologies. Moreover, when he was in the super god civilization, he often came into contact with the god of death Karlin, the king of the skybase Hexi, and he already had the momentum to become their student. Therefore, if there was one person among the three brothers and sisters who could directly find this time traveler, it would definitely be Zhao King. Since he used the ability of time to travel here, the energy contained in the time gem can become a prop to track this time traveler, Zhao King said, while opening the operation interface that he had opened at the banquet before. I will set up a tracking algorithm through my super gene system. Based on this tracking algorithm and in combination with the energy of the time stone, we can directly find the time traveler who has traveled to this world. Xiao Qing was speaking while quickly operating on the interface. The runes began to change constantly and finally formed a formula. As for the time stone, don't we need to borrow the scepter from Queen Hela? Scarlet Witch said. She was not very willing to borrow the scepter from Hela. After all, the scepter is basically the symbol of the Asgard kingship. As for the time stone, I have it here. Xiaoyun was speaking, and she grabbed it in the air casually, and a green gem appeared in her hand. You actually have the time stone, Captain Carter and Scarlet Witch both looked at Xiaoyun in surprise. I not only have the time stone, I also have all the other 6 infinity stones, Xiaoyun said proudly. You 3 are really making me more and more curious, Captain Carter sighed. She now has the idea of going to their original universe with them to take a look. Okay, don't waste your time talking. Just give the gem to Zhao King and let him complete the algorithm, Xianxia urged. Oh, Xiaoyan was a little helpless. She had just squeezed out the cosmic observer socks, which seemed to make Xianxia a little unhappy. He was even stricter with her. Xiaoyan walked in front of Zhao King and handed the time gem directly to Zhao King. Zhao King took the time gem, activated the energy in it, and then combined it with the tracking algorithm she had completed. Immediately, a green energy appeared in the air. This energy began to fly away, looking for the person Xianxia and his friends needed to find. Follow this green light, it will guide us to find the whereabouts of the time traveler, Zhao King said, and then took the lead in following the direction of the green light. Xianxia, Xiaoyan and others did not hesitate to follow this scene. Almost at the moment they left the room, Soul happened to come nearby and saw everything. Damn it, I knew there was something wrong with these guys. They actually dared to steal the time stone. Thor looked at the green gem in Zhao King's hand and his expression immediately became serious. Chapter 514 This Thor is so stupid. Following the green light, Zhao King and the others quickly left the palace and headed for the wild. They passed through the woods, entered the countryside, and stopped in a dilapidated hut. According to the algorithm, the time traveler is in this house, Zhao King said. Let's go in and find the person, and then send him back to the original time point, and everything will be done, Xianxia said, and was about to walk inside. But he had just taken 2 steps out when he suddenly turned his head and looked into the distance. A large number of soldiers are coming here. Xianxia's inside eyes were always open, and he could know everything that happened on this planet as long as he wanted to know. At the beginning, he didn't pay attention to the situation outside, so he didn't know what was going on over there. But now these soldiers are coming directly towards them, and he subconsciously glancing immediately realized that those people were looking for them. It's Thor. He is leading a large number of Asgard soldiers to come and want to capture us. Zhao King also looked over, and he conducted a more detailed investigation of those people, so he knew clearly what the people over there wanted to do. Why is this Thor so stupid? Xiaoyan complained. In the universe they were originally from, Thor was an uncle who loved the 3 of them very much, and Thor was also one of the 10 strongest people. Even in the M716 universe, that Thor got along well with him. Why is it that when he came here, this Thor is not only arrogant, but also so stupid? They are obviously here to help deal with things here and want to help them save the world. But in the end, Thor didn't come to help, and he even came to capture them. People in every universe are more or less different. We have seen the situation in the last zombie universe. Is it still hard to understand now? Xianxia said. Okay, what should we do now? Xiaoyan knew that his complaints were a bit inappropriate, but now Thor was leading a large number of soldiers, and they had to find a way to deal with it. You go find the time traveler, I'll stop them, Xianxia said, and then he took out the sword of Xianxia and was about to go. No, big brother, you are the backbone, you don't need to deal with this matter, Zhao King stopped him immediately. You two stay, I'll go. Xiaoyan heard what Zhao King said and immediately understood what he meant. Xianxia is the backbone, and he has to decide on all matters big or small. Zhao King is now responsible for controlling the time gem to find the time traveler, so he can't go. Therefore, at this time, only Xiaoyan is the most suitable to go. Well, remember not to kill them, just stop them. Zhao King saw that Xiaoyan already understood what he meant, so he reminded her. I know, I don't need the silver wings, I won't kill them. Xiaoyan agreed reluctantly, and then summoned the angel wings and flew towards the army led by Thor. To deal with Thor and the Asgard army, you only let her, a little girl, go. Captain Carter looked at Xianxia and Zhao King in surprise. Although Xianxia showed his impressive fighting power, he was only Xianxia. And now Xiaoyan has to face not only Thor, but also a large group of Asgard soldiers. Don't worry, Xiaoyan is fine, Xianxia and Zhao King didn't care about it at all. With Xiaoyan's fighting power, let alone Thor in this world, even if Thor from their super civilization came, it would take some effort to take her down. Moreover, Xiaoyan is definitely not the kind of person who will let herself suffer. If she finds that she may not be able to win, she will definitely run back to Xianxia and others for help. I'm still worried. After all, she is just an underage girl, Captain Carter said worriedly. So, you continue to look for the time traveler, and I'll go back to help Xiaoyan. Scarlet Witch also felt that Carter's statement made sense. It was too risky to let only an underage girl deal with Thor and the Asgard army. Seeing this situation, Xianxia couldn't stop it. However, the Scarlet Witch was going to support Xiaoyan, so he had to remind Xiaoyan. Wanda is going to support you. Remember not to reveal your identity. Don't let yourself get out of control and call for mom again, got it? Xiaoyan was very depressed when she received Xianxia's reminder. Is her usual performance so unreliable? Xianxia had already said this before, and now Xianxia had to remind her again. If you really know and can really control it, that would be great, Xianxia said this deliberately. Humph, look down on me. This time I must conceal my identity and will never reveal it, Xiaoyan replied with a cold snort. At the same time, she also saw the Scarlet Witch who came to support her. When she saw the Scarlet Witch appear and saw her rushing to help her, she really subconsciously wanted to call for mom. But as soon as this thought came up, she immediately thought of what Xianxia had just said. No, I must do all this time, and I must not let my elder brother look down on me, Xiaoyan thought to herself. And then she restrained her impulse and did not shout out the name that was about to come out of her mouth. Little girl, I'm here to help you, Scarlet Witch said. I'm enough by myself, and I don't need anyone's help at all, Xiaoyan said. You may be really strong, but two fists can't beat four hands, and your brothers don't let you use powerful weapons that can kill people, so it's better to have one more person to help. Scarlet Witch was not angry at what Xiaoyan said, but just found an excuse to show her intention to come to help. Okay, in this case, let's stop these guys together. Xiaoyan knew that Scarlet Witch was doing this out of good intentions, so she didn't refuse. There, attack, take them all down, Thor's voice came, and then the soldiers on horseback immediately took out their bows and arrows and started shooting towards this side. At the same time, a guy who looked very similar to Happy took out a musket and shot towards this side. However, what he shot out was not metal bullets, but a group of ant-sized people. Ant-Man? I didn't expect that they could be mass-produced here, Xiaoyan sighed, and at the same time, she waved her hands, and a large amount of energy immediately spread out in all directions. If he couldn't use silver wings, then he would use dark energy to deal with these soldiers. Chapter 515, The Mutation of Reversing Time. Let's go, let's deal with the time traveler first. We don't have to worry about Xiaoyan, Xianxia reminded. Zhao King and Captain Carter nodded. The three of them jumped up and went straight into the house. However, the moment they stepped down, three fists hit them. Xianxia and Zhao King were fine, they just raised one hand and blocked the fist. Although Captain Carter also blocked it, she was still shocked by the sudden fist. On the other hand, Xianxia and Zhao King blocked the attack calmly. They were obviously two teenagers much younger than himself, but their reactions were much better than his. Steve Rogers, are you going to attack us? Xianxia looked at a bearded guy in front of him and asked. Do you know me? The man who punched on the opposite side was also stunned after hearing Xianxia's words. Captain Carter, who heard Xianxia addressing the other party, was also confused at this time. What? You said he was Rogers. Captain Carter pushed the person in front of him away and turned his head to look in front of Xianxia. Sure enough, after taking a look, it was indeed Rogers who appeared there. Carter, Rogers also looked over. He also recognized Captain Carter at this time. He is the time traveler. He accidentally activated the power of the time gem during the battle with Thanos and was teleported here, Zhao King explained. What? He is the time traveler. Carter was a little surprised. She didn't expect that she had just met Steve Rogers, and she didn't expect that the other party was the time traveler they were looking for. Doesn't that mean that they have to send Rogers back to the original timeline? What time traveler? Rogers looked confused at this time. Xianxia saw this and turned his head to look at Zhao King. Zhao King received Xianxia's eye signal and stepped forward directly. One hand grabbed Rogers' shoulder, and then a lot of information began to flow into Rogers' mind. After receiving this information, Rogers immediately understood what was going on. It turns out that it was because of me that this universe became what it is now. Rogers understood everything. Now if we want to solve all this, the best solution is to send you back to where you came from, Zhao King said. In that case, then you can start. No matter what, you can't let the entire universe be destroyed because of me alone, Rogers answered. Although his identity in this world is different from that in other universes, he is still Steve Rogers after all. Okay, then we will, wait, let Xiaoyan come back first, Xianxia interrupted Zhao King's actions. Yes, let Xiaoyan come back, Zhao King finally reacted at this time. They all came from other universes. Once the timeline of this universe begins to recover, the 4 outsiders will definitely be affected. In order to prevent any accidents, it is natural that the 4 people must gather together before they can carry out the subsequent series of operations. Xiaoyan, your mission is completed, come back immediately, Xianxia sent a message to Xiaoyan, who is responsible for resisting in front. After receiving this information, Xiaoyan immediately knocked away the group of ants in front of him, and then opened the wormhole and came to Xianxia and his team. How come it's so fast? We just had a fight, Xiaoyan asked in confusion. We didn't expect that things would be handled so quickly. Zhao King originally thought that the time travelers might still resist, but after they came in, they saw Rogers and his team, and then the Eye of Insight casually scanned and obtained all the information. Rogers did not resist and was willing to take the initiative to bear all this, so they could naturally handle it easily. Xiaoyan, open the space-time barrier to protect the 4 of us, Xianxia said. Xiaoyan heard the order from her eldest brother and immediately started to operate. She released a space-time barrier, wrapping herself, Xianxia, Zhao King and Captain Carter in the middle. Zhao King, do it, Xianxia's order came out again, and then Zhao King started to act. He guided the power of the time gem and directly injected it into Steve Rogers' body. As Steve Rogers' body began to dissipate, the entire space and time around them also changed. The 4 of them were all in the space-time barrier, so they were not affected at all. However, when Captain Carter saw Steve Rogers disappear, he sighed helplessly. I just met a single Steve Rogers, but I didn't expect him to disappear again. Captain Carter was helpless. No matter which world she was in, she couldn't realize her wish of being with Steve Rogers. If you want to be with Steve Rogers, there is one in our universe. Xiaoyan turned her head and looked at Captain Carter. Your universe? Captain Carter was immediately happy. But soon she realized that with the abilities of Xianxia and the other 3, the situation in their universe must be different from that in other universes. Maybe Steve Rogers there has been with Captain Carter for a long time. Xiaoyan's insightful eyes naturally caught Captain Carter's thoughts. Don't worry, Captain Carter in our universe has always been a single dog, and he has taken the gene potion of our super seminary that prolongs his life. Now he is still the youngest and most handsome, Xiaoyan said. Really? Captain Carter couldn't help getting excited when he heard Xiaoyan's words. If he could meet a single Steve Rogers, and the youngest and most handsome Steve Rogers, then Captain Carter would definitely be happy to get together with him. Wait, you just said the potion that prolongs life? Are potions that prolong life already very common in your place? Captain Carter suddenly realized a key point. In our, Xiaoyan was about to answer, but after thinking carefully, it seemed to involve the secrets of their universe. So she quickly stopped and turned to look at her eldest brother Xianxia. Tell me, aren't you planning to take her back to our universe? Xianxia didn't stop Zhao King, because he also knew that there was no need for Captain Carter to stay in other universes. Since she knew the Cosmic Observer, she must have been wandering in the multiverse for a while. Since she was originally wandering between various multiverses, she naturally needed a destination in the end. And the universe where their super god civilization was located did not need to worry about the influence of time and space. The universe where the super god civilization was located had already become the most special world in the multiverse. Chapter 516, Block Space and Time. The time traveler was sent away, and the timeline of the entire universe began to be repaired. Xianxia, Zhao King, Xiaoyan and Captain Carter were left in place. The surrounding space became a completely blocked area. Zhao King, activate the power of the time gem and take us away from here. Xianxia looked at Zhao King. Now the time gem is still in Zhao King's body, and Zhao King's efficiency in using the time gem is the highest, higher than Xiaoyan, the owner of the infinite gem. Yes, Zhao King agreed, and then began to release the energy of the time gem in her hand. However, after these energies were released, a burst of golden light appeared around, which confronted the power of the time gem. The time energy that should have taken effect immediately and transferred Xianxia and others to other time and space immediately lost its effect at this moment. What's going on? Xianxia watched from the side, and he had realized that something was wrong now. Someone is using special energy to interfere with the time and space energy we released. He is preventing us from leaving this special time and space. Zhao King stopped releasing the energy of the time gem and turned to look at Xianxia. Want to stop us from leaving? Is it Dr. Strange Dark? Xiaoyan also raised her own question at this moment. From our current situation, it can only be Dr. Strange Dark. Xianxia immediately gave an accurate answer. What the three of them did from the beginning was to investigate Dr. Strange Dark. Now they have corrected the time chaos of another universe, which must have disrupted some of Dr. Strange Dark's plans. After the plan was disrupted, Dr. Strange Dark would try to trap them so that they could not continue to interfere with him. This is very likely. The Dr. Strange Dark you are talking about, is it the Dr. Strange Dark who led us to fight against the Infinite Ultron before? Captain Carter also asked curiously at this moment. When she first heard Xianxia and the others mention Dr. Strange Dark, she wanted to ask clearly. But until now, she didn't ask this question. Yes, Xianxia nodded and answered. That's not right, that Dr. Strange should be a good person. He fought with us against the guy who wanted to destroy the multiverse. Captain Carter looked at Xianxia and the others in confusion. Obviously in his impression, Dr. Strange Dark is a good person. Although his own situation is not very good, his original world was destroyed because of his wrong operations. But how could someone who can join hands with him to fight against the Infinite Ultron and defend the multiverse with him be a bad person? I don't know the specific reason, but now he is indeed interfering with the operation of the multiverse, and has been trying to prevent us from investigating the truth. This is what we have experienced personally. Xianxia gave his answer, an answer based on what happened in reality. If this is the case, we should find him and ask him, Captain Carter said, and then turned his head to look up. Strange, are you really doing all this? If it is you, you should have some reason, right? Can you tell me what your real purpose is? Captain Carter asked loudly, in the most primitive and direct way. Carter, you can't participate in this matter. I suggest you stay where you are, follow them obediently, and wait quietly for a while. The voice of Dr. Strange Dark came in soon. And his answer directly gave the accurate answer. Is it really you? Captain Carter was shocked. She didn't expect that it was because of Dr. Strange that this situation happened. In this space, your time and space are special. You will feel the time passing by little, but it will not have any effect on your body and soul. Just stay in this space and wait for 400 years, Dr. Strange said. 400 years? Captain Carter was shocked immediately. You actually planned to trap us here for 400 years? Captain Carter was a little crazy at this time. How could the guy she thought was a companion turn out to be a bad guy who wanted to trap her and Xianxia and the other three here for 400 years? I didn't want to imprison you, but unfortunately you got entangled with them by mistake, Dr. Strange replied. Why do you want to imprison them? Aren't they the children of the God of Chaos? They should also be on the side of justice, right? Captain Carter was so confused at the moment that she asked 3 questions as soon as she opened her mouth. Isn't this easy to understand? Xiaoyan couldn't bear it any longer. We are all on the side of justice, but he wants to imprison us. Doesn't this just prove that what he is doing is actually unjust? Xiaoyan had long felt that this dark Dr. Strange would not be a good person. Which good person would do something behind the scenes that could interfere with the operation of the multiverse? Which good person would come out in a sinister way after Xianxia left and want to capture 2 underage teenagers, Zhao King and Xianxia? Zhao King, Xiaoyan, there is no grudge between us, and what I am going to do will not affect your world in the end. Why do you have to pester me? Dark Dr. Strange was also very depressed. He really didn't want to have any conflict with Li Qingyun, but Li Qingyun sent 3 children to investigate him. Moreover, during the investigation, these 3 children have repeatedly disrupted his plans, and are even now looking for the center of his plans. If they really find his true location, I am afraid that all his plans will be exposed. At that time, if they summon Li Qingyun like before, then everything that Dark Dr. Strange has carefully planned over the years will be completely destroyed. If what you did really has no impact on our world, my father would not sense the movement of the multiverse. Moreover, what you did must be very evil. Since the three of us brothers and sisters already know about the evil things, we will definitely not ignore it, Xiaoyan said, and Xianxu's attitude towards this was not as complicated as hers. In Xianxu's eyes, all of this was just because this was his experience. Chapter 517, One Force Defeats 100 Skills. Since you insist on meddling in other people's business, don't blame me for imprisoning you here. After Dr. Strange finished speaking, a golden light shield gradually appeared around, sealing off the entire space. The runes that kept moving on the light shield were all magic spells specially set up by Dr. Strange to prevent Xianxu and his men from using the time stone to escape from this space and time. As someone who has owned and used the time stone to fight for many years, Dr. Strange is very familiar with the power of the time stone. He is very familiar with how to block the energy of the time stone. Strange, you can't do anything stupid, Captain Carter shouted loudly, hoping to wake up Dr. Strange. But no matter how much she shouted, no matter what she said, there was no response from Dr. Strange. Okay, don't shout anymore, he must have gone to do his own thing, and just left this seal to restrict our actions, Zhao King reminded, and Captain Carter, who was still shouting the name of Dr. Strange, finally stopped at this time. Alice, Captain Carter sighed. I never thought that Strange would become like this. Captain Carter originally believed in Dr. Strange. After all, they were both superheroes who had wanted to work hard to protect the universe. But now, this companion who had fought with her has become the one who imprisoned her. How could she not feel heartbroken? Zhao King, is there any way to break this seal? Xianxu ignored Captain Carter's sigh. He just wanted to know if Zhao King had any way to break it. Dr. Strange's magical energy is the most powerful among all the people known so far. I'm afraid only our father can surpass him in pure power and ability, Zhao King replied. Father became the most powerful magician because he mastered the power of the entire chaotic dimension, but Dr. Strange is different. His power should be obtained through some forbidden techniques, by taking away various powers to supplement himself, which made him become what he is now. Xianxu gave his analysis of Dr. Strange. In the Marvel Universe, even in all the multiverses, the most powerful magic power must be chaos magic, because this is one of the three most powerful forces in the universe. After defeating the god of the underworld, Zizan, Li Qingyun took control of the chaotic dimension, and all the chaotic energy in it was controlled by Li Qingyun, so he became the most powerful magician in the multiverse. But Li Qingyun has the strongest magic power, but he is not a pure magician. His strength is the strength of quantity, not the strength of spells. But the situation of the Dr. Strange they are facing should be different from that of Li Qingyun. In the database of the Super God Civilization, some information about the Dark Dr. Strange is recorded, and these information say that the Dark Dr. Strange once broke into a library of the Dark Magic Palace and read all the magic books in that library. He spent a long time learning magic, and then used these magics to summon various magical creatures and devour them, and finally made himself reach the cosmic level without relying on any power like the Infinity Stones. Therefore, in this case, Dr. Strange Dark must be more proficient in the application of magic than Li Qingyun. After all, Li Qingyun was not originally a full-time magician. Li Qingyun was a scholar. He was best at technology. And then he used technology as a basis to encompass everything, and finally broke through to become an existence at the same level as the five gods in the multiverse today. Although my father is not the most proficient in the use of magic, he once said that all energy can be controlled in the same way, Xianxu reminded. You mean, different paths lead to the same destination, and the way follows nature? Zhao King seemed to have suddenly thought of something. No matter what method is used, the basis of energy is the same. All energy in nature can eventually be cracked in the same way. One force defeats 100 skills, one sword breaks all laws. These principles have been exposed to us since childhood, right? Xianxu said, and Zhao King finally figured out what Xianxu wanted to tell him at this time. You are right, Zhao King said with a smile on his face. The power that Dr. Strange used to seal time and space must also be the power of the time stone, but the method he used was more clever. Zhao Qing began to analyze in detail based on the current situation. The power of the time stone must be the same across the multiverse. In other words, if Dr. Strange can seal us with the power of the time stone, then we can definitely break the blockade with the power of the time stone. When Zhao Qing said this, he had already held the time stone in front of him, and a ray of light shot out of his eyes and fell directly into the stone. Then, A large amount of data information began to be fully unfolded by Xiao Qing in the form of projection. To break the blockade of the Time Stone with the power of the Time Stone, we only need to find a way to maximize the power of the Time Stone, and we can forcibly break all the seals. While Xiao Qing was talking, he began to make long and complicated calculations. From analyzing the nature of the Time Stone, to the specific means to drive the operation of the Time Stone, and using other energies to assist, to enhance the instant release effect of the Time Stone, etc. This process of analysis and calculation takes time, but this time is very short compared to the 400 years they were originally going to be imprisoned. According to Xiaoyun's calculations, Zhao Qing spent about a day from the beginning to the end. Have you figured out a way to crack it? Xianxia asked immediately when he saw Zhao Qing stop. Yes, Zhao Qing nodded confidently. Send the plan to me and I'll do the operation, Xianxia said. Zhao Qing had been calculating for a day and a night, and his energy consumption was not small. Moreover, Xianxia was the most powerful here. If Xianxia controlled it, the energy of the Time Stone would naturally be brought to the highest level. Zhao Qing also understood this, so there was no hesitation. He directly handed the Time Stone to Xianxia, and then passed the relevant application methods to Xianxia. The reason why he didn't say it directly was naturally to avoid Dr. Strange hearing it, so that he could prepare early. Xianxia received the relevant application methods and started to operate them as soon as possible. Chapter 518, One Sword Breaks All Laws. Xianxia summoned the Sword of Xianxia, and the Time Stone was directly embedded in the core engine of the Sword of Xianxia. The angel wings behind him spread out, and Xianxia flew into the air. He held the long sword tightly with both hands at the same time, and the energy in his body began to be constantly called out and gathered on the sword. Start the Void Controller, drive the Void Engine of the Sword of Xianxia, activate the powerful divine power of the Airseer in your body, Xianxia shouted in his heart, and the power and powerful energy he possessed began to be stimulated little by little. What he has to do now is to break all laws with one sword. Use all his strength to stimulate the strongest power of the Time Stone, and then use the Sword of Xianxia in his hand to forcibly break the complex magic seal set by the Dark Doctor. As the energy gathered to a certain extent, he directly swung the long sword in his hand and chopped it fiercely towards the front. The moment the long sword chopped out, a green light burst out and directly bombarded the huge magic circle. The power contained in Xianxia's sword chopped out was so strong that it directly shocked Captain Carter below. Since she entered the multiverse, she has met many people and powerful warriors, but except for the Infinite Ultron, no one has ever launched such a strong attack. No, there should be another man, but he only appeared for a moment, and then transferred the Infinite Ultron to another space. I didn't see how he defeated the Infinite Ultron in the end. Captain Carter recalled the battle between the Infinite Ultron and the Dark Doctor Strange, the Cosmic Observer and Li Qingyun. In that battle, at the beginning, a large group of people from various multiverses attacked the Infinite Ultron. Later, Li Qingyun appeared and directly shifted the battlefield. They couldn't see the final battle process, but they knew that after that person made a move, the Infinite Ultron was killed soon. The Infinite Ultron with 6 Infinity Stones could be easily killed by him. Li Qingyun's strength must be much stronger than the Infinite Ultron. Boom! The huge explosions kept echoing in time and space. The time and space that had originally sealed the 4 of them tightly, unexpectedly, at this time, huge cracks appeared one after another. Xiao Qing, calculate the exit location and prepare to lead all of us out, Xianxia reminded. Xiao Qing immediately began to operate after hearing what Xianxia said. 3 balls of light appeared on himself, Xiaoyun, and Captain Carter, completely covering them. Brother, the last 5 seconds, Xiao Qing reminded. Okay, Xianxia naturally understood the meaning of this reminder and immediately agreed. 3, 2, 1, Xiao Qing counted the last number, and a ball of light instantly covered Xianxia, and Xianxia also retracted his attack at this moment. Then, the 4 figures disappeared at the same time. They directly followed the cracks that were chopped open and left the blocked space. The little guys are indeed worthy of being my children. At such a young age, they can actually rely on their own abilities to break through this seal. After Xianxia and the others left, Li Qingyun's figure also appeared in this time and space. As early as when Xianxia and the others were trapped in this special time and space, Li Qingyun actually knew the situation on their side, so he went to the periphery to observe. He originally thought that he might need to secretly help them, but in the end, These four little guys actually relied on their own strength and a small time gem to successfully break through the seal set by the Dark Doctor. Our children, their strength and talent are naturally excellent. Hila and Wanda also appeared at this time, but they were not Hila and Wanda from the Super God civilization, but from M716. When Xianxia and the others were trapped, Li Qingyun was in the M716 universe, flirting with these two. But this Strange is also a bitch. He actually dared to attack our children. Humph. I won't use the Eternal Spear to poke dozens of transparent holes in him. After Wanda finished speaking, Hila snorted and took out the Eternal Spear. Li Qingyun smiled and waved his hand. Let them go by themselves. This time, the matter was originally the power I specially arranged for them. Anything they originally wanted to do, they should have borne the consequences themselves, Li Qingyun said. At the same time, the seals in the surrounding space and time began to repair themselves and were about to close again. Facing such a situation, Li Qingyun just waved his hand casually, and an extremely powerful energy spread out in an instant. All the sealing forces in the entire space and time were defeated in an instant and completely disappeared. After mastering the entire chaotic dimension and mastering more powerful energy in the real universe, the so-called cosmic strength is insignificant in front of Li Qingyun. Whether it is the Dark Doctor Strange or those cosmic observers, they are just some small characters in Li Qingyun's eyes. Now, the only one who can really make Li Qingyun pay attention is the true god of the Marvel Universe, who has never appeared. Even the four of the five gods, Eternity, Annihilation, Infinity and Death, are now peers in Li Qingyun's eyes, and Death has directly become his woman. As for the last of the five gods, the Planet Devourer, now in Li Qingyun's eyes, it is like a clown. On the other side, Xianxia and others who left this time and space soon appeared in a brand new world. This is a forest, which is dark, silent and seems to be full of danger. Zhaoqing, do you know where this place is? Xianxia asked. His previous sword released all his power, so the consumption of himself was a bit large. At this time, he did not use his ability to observe the surroundings, but gave priority to self-recovery. There is no information coordinates, and no detailed information can be found, but on this planet, it seems that there is a person with very strong energy. Zhaoqing's inside eyes are working. He found some useful information from the dark data of the surrounding space. If there is a person with strong energy, he should know something, Xianxia said. Is the opponent's strength stronger than ours? Xianxia asked again. From the energy analysis results, it is not stronger than us, Zhaoqing gave a positive answer. Then send him a message and let him come to us on his own initiative, Xianxia said. Chapter 519 Brothers and sisters work together. Zhaoqing quickly passed the information on, telling them their thoughts and the purpose of coming here. Soon, a burst of blue light flashed out, and then a person was seen coming out of the portal. This person was someone Xianxia and the others had never seen before, because this person was actually a very special one in the multiverse. Although she also had variants, she did not have as many variants as Captain Carter and the like. Because the person in front of him was a superhero named Gadholi, who was affected by the space gem and eventually gained superpowers. Who are you? How did you appear here? Gadholi saw the three Xianxias and was full of confusion. But soon she saw Captain Carter. She did not know the three Xianxias, but she knew Captain Carter, because Captain Carter had such a superhero in the universe where she originally lived. It's just that Gadholi's planet is a little far from the Earth. Gadholi also got to know Captain Carter because he had this superpower and had contact with Doctor Strange, so he knew a little about Captain Carter, but they were not very good friends. Are you also one of the people targeted by Doctor Strange? Zhaoqing asked directly at this time. Through the eye of insight, he saw some useful information from Gadholi's memory, and the most critical one was that Gadholi knew all the truth about Dark Doctor Strange. Who are you and how do you know Dark Doctor Strange? Gadholi began to be alert. We are here to investigate Dark Doctor Strange and stop his conspiracy, Zhaoqing immediately stated the purpose of his trip. From the information he read, Gadholi was the enemy of Dark Doctor Strange, so as long as they told the real purpose of their visit, they would naturally be able to form an alliance of interests with Gadholi, thereby gaining her trust and obtaining more useful information. Just the three of you? Gadholi looked at Xianxia, Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan hesitantly. All three of them were still minors. Did you realize that I saw through your thoughts directly? Zhaoqing said, and his rhetorical question made Gadholi, who was originally very suspicious of the strength of Xianxia and the other three, immediately stunned. Yes, when she came, she didn't tell anyone about her identity, and didn't take the initiative to tell anyone about anything, but Zhaoqing seemed to know everything. This might be because the other party could read the memories in her mind. Don't underestimate the three of them. I just saw them break the seal released by Strange and rescue me from the seal of time and space, Captain Carter said. In the past, she was like casually, thinking that Xianxia and the other three were still minors, just children. But in fact, she was so insignificant in front of these three children. Any one of these three little guys is stronger than her, especially Xianxia, who broke the seal of time and space set by Doctor Strange with one sword. In that case, I'll tell you what I know. Seeing this situation, Cowley thought that he had no other way to think about it, so he told everything. Including what she knew, Doctor Strange had captured many people from the multiverse, intending to put them into a special cosmic furnace to reshape his original universe. After hearing everything Cowley said, Xianxia and the others finally understood what a critical thing they had been investigating. Using countless people captured from the multiverse as raw materials to shape a brand new universe. This Dark Doctor Strange really deserves his title. Xiaoyan was also shocked by the actions of Dark Doctor Strange at this time. Just to revive the former universe, countless people in the multiverse had to be killed, and there were not only those evil villains and killers in the universe, but also many righteous superheroes. It seems that what he planned to do in the M716 universe and the zombie universe was to capture people who could be used as raw materials, based on the truth of the matter that had been understood so far. Zhaoqing quickly deduced what the actions of Dark Doctor Strange were before. Now that we have found out the results of the investigation, should we tell our father the news and let him handle it, or? Xiaoyan looked at Xianxia. Things like this, in the end, still have to be decided by Xianxia. Last time when we faced Doctor Strange the Dark, we summoned our father once. We lost face once. Do you really want to summon your father this time? Xianxia did not make a decision, but proposed his own ideas to his two younger brothers and sisters. What he was going to do this time, he had to take risks with his two younger brothers and sisters, and if he failed at that time, he might die on the spot. Therefore, this time he could not be arbitrary, he had to speak out his ideas, and then let Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan decide what to do in the end. I don't want my father to look down on me, Xiaoyan spoke first. She was originally a strong character, and this time she came out to experience, and it was originally agreed that they would rely on their own abilities. Now they have figured out the truth of the whole matter, and know that the only way to solve all problems is to get rid of Doctor Strange, the Dark. Xiaoyan naturally hoped that they could solve the trouble by their own ability in the end, instead of relying on their father's power to solve everything. Zhaoqing, what about you? Xianxia looked at Zhaoqing. His younger brother rarely made decisions on weekdays, but he knew very well that Zhaoqing was a very smart person and always had his own ideas in his heart. Therefore, Zhaoqing's opinion on this matter was very important to him. You two want to let Dad see your ability, but I don't want Dad to look down on you, Zhaoqing said with a smile. Ha ha ha, Xianxia laughed, and laughed happily. You are indeed worthy of being my brother. Xianxia patted Zhaoqing's shoulder and approved of Zhaoqing's decision. No, we are going to face a Dark Doctor with cosmic strength next, and you three are going to do it yourself. Captain Carter looked at the three teenagers with some confusion. In her opinion, as long as Li Qingyun was told about this matter, with Li Qingyun's strength, he would be able to get everything done in minutes. But now, these three children of Li Qingyun are actually planning to take action on their own without telling their father. Isn't this risking their lives? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 520, Face the Dark Doctor Strange. Carter was completely confused by the choice of Xianxia, Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan. They could have solved everything with just one phone call. Now the three of them had to rely on their own abilities to deal with Doctor Strange Dark. Is this what those people said, that they are not afraid of the second generation of rich people eating, drinking and having fun, but they are afraid of the second generation of rich people struggling to start a business? Captain Carter thought so in her heart, but she couldn't say it out loud, because the identities of these three teenagers were too special, and their original strength was much stronger than hers. She was ready to fight Doctor Strange Dark, So how could she say anything about these three little guys? I'll open the passage to Doctor Strange Dark for you. After Kahuli finished speaking, he opened a blue space door in front of everyone. When Xianxia saw the space door appear, he walked in immediately without any hesitation. Zhao King, Xiaoyan, Captain Carter and Kahuli all followed Xianxia and walked in together. On the other side of the passage, Dark Doctor Strange was standing in a hall. Around the hall were a large number of sealing balls that sealed many people like crystal balls. At a glance, there must be at least 8,000 sealing balls here, and this is just what can be seen at a glance. There may be more in the farther place. Dark Doctor Strange is only one person, but he has collected so many people from various universes. It is conceivable how much time and energy he has invested in the process of implementing this plan. Stop it, Strange, your secret has been exposed. Captain Carter stepped forward and said loudly. Captain Carter, why do you have to stop me? Dark Doctor Strange asked back. His real purpose is just to recreate the universe he once had. Why do so many people want to oppose it? Using other people's lives to fulfill your own long-cherished wish, such a thing, in your opinion, is not a big deal. Xianxia stepped forward. He had investigated a lot and understood everything. He now just felt that this Dark Doctor Strange was a lunatic. He once destroyed the entire universe to save a person. Now he wants to sacrifice countless lives to revive his original universe. He made mistakes again and again, and he knew his mistakes but refused to correct them. Boy, how many years have you lived? How dare you teach me a lesson? Dark Doctor Strange was also a little annoyed with Xianxia. Since these three little guys entered the multiverse, they have destroyed his plan more than once. Now they are questioning him like this, and he feels very depressed. What does it matter how many years I have lived? What really matters is that everything you do now is wrong, and we are here today to stop your plan. While Xianxia was speaking, the sword of Xianxia had been summoned, and he was wearing dark alloy armor. Zhao King and Xiaoyan did not hesitate, and directly summoned their own weapons and prepared for battle. Just three little guys like you dare to go against me, Dark Doctor Strange said with disdain. If you hadn't called out Li Qingyun last time, I would have tied up all three of you. How different would the result be this time? Dark Doctor Strange said this deliberately to provoke Xianxia and the other two, because he knew that if Li Qingyun really came, he would definitely not be able to beat him. Therefore, he wanted to stimulate the three little guys in front of him. And then he would not summon Li Qingyun. As long as Li Qingyun didn't come, he would be able to capture the three little guys. As long as he didn't really hurt them, even if Li Qingyun knew everything at that time, he probably wouldn't turn against him. Even if he turned against him, at least Li Qingyun wouldn't destroy the universe he had recreated in anger. After all, everything was already a done deal at that time. You don't need to use this method to stimulate us. We didn't intend to let our father deal with you. Zhao King stepped forward and said. This time we will do it ourselves. If we can't stop you, then we will no longer interfere in your affairs and go home directly, Xianxia said. Then I want to see how you three little guys can stop me. As Doctor Strange Dark spoke, his hands were ready to release magic. It's not just the three little guys, we are here too. Captain Carter and Kahuli hurried forward. It would be fine if he didn't summon Li Qingyun, but if he only let Xianxia and the other three little guys take action, wouldn't the chance of winning be even lower? Then you all come together. After Doctor Strange Dark said this, he swung his hands violently, and two golden chains swept directly towards Captain Carter and Kahuli. Even though the three little guys, Xianxia, Zhao King and Xiaoyan, were the first to stand up, Doctor Strange Dark would still attack Captain Carter and Kahuli first. The reason for this is very simple, because these two guys have no background, and he can't afford to offend the father of Xianxia and the three siblings. Looking at the two chains that were already attacking them, Captain Carter and Kahuli jumped away to avoid them. Seeing this, Xianxia gathered energy on the sword in his hand, and then rushed out directly. The sword slashed out, the movement was extremely fast, and the power was also extremely huge. Seeing this, Dark Doctor Strange immediately stepped back. He didn't recognize the sword in Xianxia's hand, but he knew it was not an ordinary item. So, even if Dark Doctor Strange had his special armor condensed by magic on his body, he still didn't dare to take it head-on. However, just as he stepped back to avoid Xianxia's sword attack, two silver blades suddenly appeared on the left and right sides of Dark Doctor Strange, flying rapidly towards his vital points. Facing such an attack, Dark Doctor Strange could only open his hands at the same time and summon two golden shields to resist. The silver blade touched the shield, and the light on the shield flickered, but it almost failed to block the silver blade. It's made of special metals again. Are all the weapons of your super civilization so domineering? Dark Doctor Strange couldn't help but complain at this moment. What kind of existence is this super civilization? 3 little guys just came out casually, and each of the weapons they used was a divine weapon that he had to be wary of. Of course, Zhao King's voice came, and then he saw a silver rotating cross-shaped weapon flying quickly from behind Dark Doctor Strange. Chapter 521 Siege. At this moment, Doctor Strange Dark was blocking Zion's silver blade with both hands. Xianxia rushed forward with a long sword in front of him, and Zhao King controlled Xingming to attack from behind. Faced with such a predicament, ordinary people would find it difficult to escape. But Doctor Strange Dark was different. A large number of tentacles extended directly from his body at this moment, and there were even runes on these tentacles. Xingming, who was flying over, was directly knocked away by one of the tentacles, and Xianxia's attack was forced to stop under the continuous attack of 2 or 3 tentacles. Can he release the tentacles of an octopus from his body? Is this guy still human? Xiaoyan looked at the appearance of Doctor Strange Dark and immediately complained. He absorbed a lot of magical power from dark creatures, and he was not a normal human being, Captain Carter explained. But she didn't care about this kind of thing before. How many people choose to gain power in this way in order to deal with evil forces and to protect the people and things they want to protect in their hearts? Even Captain Carter himself, didn't he inject a special gene drug to make himself far more powerful than ordinary people? But today, when she saw Doctor Strange Dark use these powers to deal with her, she realized how unacceptable this matter was. Abandoning the original human appearance and fighting completely in the form of a monster, this itself is a manifestation of going to evil and darkness. What's the point of saying this and that? As long as you can accomplish what you want in your heart and gain enough power, that's enough. Doctor Strange Dark didn't care about Zion's complaints and Captain Carter's description at all. He was suspended in the air at this moment, with his hands crossed in front of him, obviously ready for further attacks. Quick, hold him back, don't let him free his hands to cast more magic, Xianxia reminded. He remembered the seal that Doctor Strange Dark cast in that special time and space, which required Xianxia to mobilize all his strength to break. Therefore, if Doctor Strange Dark fully mobilized his power to cast magic, it would definitely be very troublesome for them. Everyone, attack together, Captain Carter said as he swung the shield in his right hand and smashed it hard towards the Dark Doctor Strange in midair. The Dark Doctor Strange waved his hands at the same time, and a huge red dragon was immediately released from his body, opening his huge bloody mouth, and a strong flame immediately spewed out. You can summon a dragon? Xiaoyan was also surprised when he saw this. Don't be stunned here, use your silver wings to attack, Xianxia reminded. Xiaoyan heard Xianxia's voice and reacted quickly. The silver wings stretched out directly, and then turned into countless silver blades, stabbing at the dragon in front. The body of the fire dragon was very huge, and the attack of the silver blades could not directly penetrate his body, but the continuous attack of hundreds of silver blades pushed its huge body backwards quickly. The fire dragon was forced to retreat, and the star life controlled by Zhao King found another opportunity to attack the Dark Doctor Strange himself. Dark Doctor Strange dodged quickly, but this time Star Fate aimed directly at the vital point of Dark Doctor Strange and chased him relentlessly. When Dark Doctor Strange turned, Star Fate also turned. Even if Dark Doctor Strange quickly moved through the portal, Star Fate could immediately chase him through the wormhole. I'm coming too. At this time, Xianxia also summoned a bunch of silver blades and attacked Dark Doctor Strange. His silver blades were not the same as those used by Xiaoyan. They were not a complete set made based on Keisha's silver blades. Not only were there differences in style, but also in power. But at this time, using such weapons to attack can produce excellent results. At least it can make Dark Doctor Strange be besieged by various weapons all the time, and then he can't fight back. Your attack, I can't help at all. Kahui was a little confused. She wanted to come up to help fight, but after a closer look, she found that she couldn't help at all. Her ability is space teleportation, of course, she can also send some energy wave attacks. But now the air was full of silver blades released by Xianxia and Xiaoyan. If she launched an attack, not only would she not be able to hit Doctor Strange Dark, but she would also most likely knock down the silver blades. It's the same for you and me, Captain Carter said helplessly. She threw out a shield at the beginning, but after the shield came back, She couldn't throw it out again, because the effect of her throwing out the shield would be the same as the effect of Kahuli's energy emission. Then we just watch. Kahuli was a little depressed. Obviously, the two of them were adults, but when they started fighting, they became onlookers and dragged down the three little guys. Let's go find those sealed superheroes, and release them all to help us deal with Strange together. Captain Carter suddenly turned his head and looked at the sealing balls around him. Good idea, Kahuli agreed with Captain Carter's suggestion. Without any hesitation, the two turned their heads to look at the sealing balls on both sides, and then walked towards the superheroes they thought were decent. Doctor Strange, who was being chased by various dark silver weapons in midair, suddenly saw Captain Carter below pick up a sealing ball and smash it directly on the ground, and he immediately exclaimed, "No!" Doctor Strange waved his hand, and a magical energy quickly burst out, knocking away the star fate that Zhao King had sent over. Then he took advantage of the gap in the attack and flew towards Captain Carter at the fastest speed. But when he was halfway through the flight, Thor, who came out of the sealing ball, swung the Thor's hammer in his hand and smashed it towards Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange saw the Thor's hammer and could only turn around to dodge, but when he paused to dodge, Xianxia's attack had already caught up. And Xiaoyan's silver blades came like raindrops, densely packed and overwhelming. Doctor Strange turned around suddenly, and infinite energy burst out instantly, knocking all these weapons away. But after blocking all the weapons, when he turned his head and looked over, Captain Carter had already picked up another sealing ball and smashed it hard on the ground. Bang! The sealing ball broke, and Hela in white armor immediately walked out. Hela in white armor raised the eternal spear in her hand, and a strong light immediately shot out, heading straight for the Dark Doctor Strange. Chapter 522. If you want to gang up on me, then let's gang up on me. At this point, Dark Doctor Strange was completely under siege. Xianxia, Zhao King and Xiaoyan continued to attack, and Captain Carter and Kahuli continued to destroy the seal ball, and the superheroes who came out of the seal ball launched an attack. Moreover, this situation will definitely get worse and worse, because the number of superheroes will definitely increase, and in the end, all the superheroes in the entire multiverse may appear. After all, in these years, Dark Doctor Strange has captured almost all the good and bad superheroes. Damn, you guys dare to deal with me in this way? Dark Doctor Strange looked at the increasingly worse situation at this time, and saw that from the first few to now dozens of people were beating him up. He finally couldn't bear it anymore. Since you want to use superheroes to deal with me, I will use all the universe killers to deal with you, Dark Doctor Strange roared. Not good, Zhao King realized at the first time what Dark Doctor Strange was going to do. Xianxia, who heard Zhao King's reminder, also reacted, but before the two brothers could do anything, the battlefield in front of them had already begun to change dramatically. I saw that the Dark Doctor Strange roared suddenly, and countless octopus tentacles immediately extended out and smashed towards the large number of sealing balls stored on the surrounding shelves. Ping ping pong pong. A large number of sealing balls fell from the shelves and broke into pieces. The sealing balls broke, and the villains who were originally trapped in the sealing balls all appeared at once. After these guys appeared, they immediately fought with the people around them without a moment's hesitation. These sealed villains and the sealed decent people were originally hostile to each other. Now that they met in the same area, they naturally fought immediately. The situation where everyone was besieging the Dark Doctor Strange almost instantly turned into a group fight between the decent and the villains. What a mess. Xianxia looked at such a scene, but he was very depressed. Why release superheroes to help? Originally, the three siblings could have used their numbers to suppress the Dark Doctor Strange, leaving him no time to do anything. But now, a large number of supervillains have appeared. Not only will they fight with the superheroes that have been released, but some of them will also directly target Xianxia and the other three. Under such circumstances, Xianxia and the other three simply cannot focus on dealing with the Dark Doctor Strange. Sorry, Captain Carter and Kahuli have come to Xianxia's side at this time. Seeing that the siege has been destroyed, they also realize that they have made a fool of themselves this time. Now that everything has happened, it's meaningless to say more. Xianxia knew very well that there is no turning back. Since the supervillains and superheroes have been released, this melee is bound to happen, so why not let them continue as it is now? Zhao King, Xiaoyan, lock the location of the cosmic furnace, and we will go and destroy the cosmic furnace directly. Xianxia turned around and looked at his two brothers and sisters. After hearing what Xianxia said, Zhao King and Xiaoyan immediately began to use their eyes of insight to investigate all the rooms in the surrounding space. Soon, they found the location of the cosmic furnace. "Brother, go this way," Zhao King said, and took the lead to walk towards the exit of a room on the left. Xianxia, Xiaoyan, Captain Carter and Cat Holy followed closely behind. Dark Doctor Strange, who was originally on the battlefield and had some time to rest because of the chaos, also saw the actions of Xianxia and the others. At the beginning, Dark Doctor Strange did not realize what the five of them wanted to do. But when they saw that Zhao King was leading them to the direction of the cosmic furnace, they immediately understood. "Damn it, you actually want to destroy the cosmic furnace." Dark Doctor Strange was angry. This was the cosmic furnace that he spent a lot of time and energy to build, and it was the only way to help him restore the universe. But now, Xianxia and the others actually wanted to destroy this vital thing. How could Dark Doctor Strange accept it? He found his hands and a portal appeared directly under his feet. When he fell into the portal, he came directly in front of Xianxia and the others, blocking the passage to the cosmic furnace room. "You are challenging my bottom line," Dark Doctor Strange scolded. "You have already touched our bottom line," Captain Carter said. "In this case, don't blame me for being ruthless to you." After Dark Doctor Strange finished speaking, he waved his hands at the same time, making magic gestures one after another, and then a large number of magical creatures began to be summoned and attacked Xianxia and the others. Xiaoyan's silver wings have been in the activation stage, and the sacred domain has been unfolded. Those magical creatures that approached were immediately killed by the silver wings. At the same time, Xianxia had summoned the eternal spear in his hand, and the powerful energy gathered on the tip of the spear, and a strong white light shot towards Dark Doctor Strange. Facing such an attack, Dark Doctor Strange subconsciously chose to dodge, and the result of his dodge was that the passage behind him was directly blown through, and they were getting closer and closer to the room where the cosmic furnace was located. "Enough!" Dark Doctor Strange roared, and as he waved his right hand, a huge tentacle appeared, directly filing the entire passage and stabbing towards Xianxia and the others. As long as they stayed in this passage, they had no way to dodge this saturation attack. "Angel Cloud Shield," Xiaoyan shouted softly, and a silver shield blocked everyone in front of them, blocking the tentacle. "Let's separate and enter from different directions." While Zhao King was speaking, his hands made magic movements at the same time, and scarlet magic energy began to open two passages in the walls on both sides. "Chaos magic? You actually know chaos magic?" Captain Carter was immediately shocked when he saw the magic moves performed by Zhao King. And Xianxia's attack just now, he clearly used the Spear of Eternity, which is Asgard's strongest weapon. "Now is not the time to think about these things, hurry up and do your things." Xianxia didn't have time to discuss those unimportant things with him. Now, the most important thing is to find the location of the cosmic furnace and destroy it. Chapter 523 Zhao King's Final Decision. Under Xianxia's urging, Captain Carter finally reacted. No matter what the identities of Xianxia and the other three are, the most important thing now is to solve the problem of Dark Doctor Strange first. As long as the cosmic furnace is still there, Dark Doctor Strange will continue to find ways to use countless lives to fill the furnace so as to recreate the universe. Only after the cosmic furnace is destroyed, Dark Doctor Strange will be able to give up this goal. "Let's go." After Kahuli finished speaking, he directly pulled Captain Carter and drilled into the space door opened on the left. "Brother," Zhao King shouted. Xianxia heard Zhao King's shouting and knew that everything was ready, so he immediately drilled into the space door at the first time. As Xianxia entered, Xiaoyan directly withdrew the Angel Cloud Shield, and the huge octopus tentacle also passed directly through their original position. However, this attack did not hit anyone. Dark Doctor Strange naturally knew that Xianxia and Captain Carter and the others were fighting separately. They actually went separately. Dark Doctor Strange was a little hesitant at this moment, wondering which side he should chase. Finally, he chased in the direction of Xianxia and the others. Although Captain Carter and Kahuli also have the ability to destroy the cosmic furnace, it is obvious that Xianxia and the other three have stronger mobility and combat power than those two guys. Even though the combined age of these three little guys is not as old as Captain Carter and Kahuli, these three are Li Qingyun's children. Looking at the battle just now, the weapons and fighting methods used by Xianxia, Zhao King and Xiaoyan not only inherited Li Qingyun's fighting characteristics, but also possessed the power of Wanda and Hela. These three little guys are born top-level strongmen. Therefore, Even though they are not yet adults, Dark Doctor Strange still cares more about Xianxia and the other three. So, Dark Doctor Strange immediately opened the portal and chased in the direction of Xianxia and the others. Under the full obstruction of Dark Doctor Strange, the actions of Xianxia and the other three were greatly hindered, but they still kept moving forward and kept approaching the location of the cosmic furnace. "Can't you three little guys just go home?" Dark Doctor Strange continued to perform various magics. He even released the demonic power in his body to compete with Xianxia and the other three. But even so, he could only fight the three little guys on equal terms. The three little guys were not his opponents in terms of strength, but the weapons in their hands were too powerful. The power of the void contained in Xianxia's sword, Kesha's silver wings had the ability to appear and disappear in a mysterious way, and Zhao King looked the least threatening, but he was like a calculator, always able to calculate how to deal with his attacks in the first place. The three brothers and sisters joined forces. Xianxia was the main attacker, Xiaoyan was the auxiliary, and Zhao King was the mediator. From time to time, a shot always played a key role and turned the whole battle situation around. "Stop your plan, let everyone go back, and we will naturally go home," Xianxia said. "This is simply impossible. I must restore my former universe and save the people I love," said Dark Doctor Strange. His current state was almost crazy. His reason was being controlled by some strange power. "Brother, something is wrong with him." Zhao King looked at Dark Doctor Strange at this time and felt something special. I felt it too. Although Xianxia was not as thoughtful as Zhao King, his judgment and fighting instincts were always the strongest among the three siblings. He gained more powerful power by absorbing dark creatures and demons, and was affected by the power of demons for a long time, and he was always in loneliness. His reason was likely to be affected by the demons and changed, Zhao King analyzed. So, although he is Doctor Strange now, he is actually a person who has been affected by the power of demons and has lost his ability to think for himself. Xiaoyan, who was standing aside, gradually understood some of the situation. "Yes, it is very likely to be the case," Zhao King replied. "Then think of a way to attack the demon in his body directly, force the demon out of his body, and then kill the demon. Maybe we can solve everything." Xianxia made a judgment that the key to solving all these problems is the special powers obtained in the body of Dark Doctor Strange. Regardless of whether Dark Doctor Strange is really affected by the demon and loses his mind, as long as the demon power is removed, his strength will definitely be greatly weakened. Even if Dark Doctor Strange has no demon power at that time, he will still have to start the cosmic furnace. After the power is weakened, the three of them will have a better chance of winning. "Xiaoyan, help me entangle Dark Doctor Strange." As Xianxia spoke, he held the sword of Xianxia in his right hand and the spear of eternity in his left hand. Two energies, one purple and one white, immediately flew out from his two weapons. The power of the void and the power of the Airser, the strong attack of the two energies at the same time, forced Dark Doctor Strange to raise his hands and summon a shield to resist. Space-time flare, blockade. In Xiaoyan's hand, a dark silver sword appeared. This was the king's order she received from Angel Yan. As she swung her sword, a space-time barrier immediately appeared around Dark Doctor Strange, trapping him completely. At the same time, Xianxia took back the spear of eternity, and stabbed out the sword of Xianxia in his hand. A void barrier appeared and immediately surrounded Dark Doctor Strange. "Zhao King," Xianxia called softly, and Zhao King was already ready at this time. "Void controller activated, galactic power activated," Zhao King murmured, and behind him, a black sword soared into the air, and then turned into a huge sword that was 2 meters wide and dozens of meters long, falling directly from the sky towards Dark Doctor Strange's head. Final Judgment. This is a move used by the Super God Universe Galaxy Power, a very powerful move designed based on the ability of the Galaxy Power. Even Li Qingyun doesn't know this move. When he went to the Super God Universe, he got some gene backups from Jezailan. After returning, he implanted them into Zhao King's body, which stimulated this move. In fact, Xianxia, Zhao King and Xiaoyan all have some of the top super genes in the Super God Universe. Xianxia has Keisha's genes. Zhao King has the genes of the power of the galaxy. And Xiaoyan has the space-time genes specially prepared for her by Morgana. Chapter 524 The Devil Appears. Possessing the blood power inherited from Li Qingyun, Wanda and Hela, as well as the super genes implanted to strengthen their abilities. In addition, the entire super seminary has invested a lot of resources in them, and they are taught by the top teachers. With such a lot of foundations, it is the key to Xianxia, Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan, 3 teenagers who are only 15 years old, to have such powerful strength. When the final judgment was launched, an extremely powerful pressure directly crushed Doctor Strange. At this moment, Doctor Strange, or the demon in his body, also felt an unprecedented danger at this moment. "You are too much," Doctor Strange roared, and the demon in his body rushed out directly at this moment. The moment the demon appeared, the powerful energy directly broke through the barrier set up by Xianxia and Xiaoyan. Then, countless tentacles drilled out from Doctor Strange's arms and blocked the giant sword above. Ling. A huge buzzing sound was heard, and the giant sword was blocked. Then the demon-eye body of Doctor Strange began to retreat quickly, leaving the attack range of Zhaoqing's final judgment. "Quick, keep following and trap him," Xianxia urged, and Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan also retracted their original attack moves at the first time, and launched new moves to chase after Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange wanted to launch a counterattack, but at this moment, he felt that there was a problem in the direction of the cosmic furnace. Not good. Carter and Kahuli have already broken into the location of the cosmic furnace. Doctor Strange exclaimed that it was not good, and then turned around and opened a portal and directly entered the room where the cosmic furnace was. Xianxia saw this scene and immediately turned back to look at Zhaoqing. Zhaoqing understood what Xianxia meant, and when he waved his hands, a portal immediately appeared in front of the 3 of them. Xianxia rushed in first. As the eldest brother, and his physical strength is inherently stronger than the other brothers, so in this potentially dangerous shuttle, he must be the first. Everything was just as he thought. When he passed through the portal, an octopus tentacle had already arrived in front of Xianxia. This octopus tentacle was different from the previous ones. At the front of the octopus tentacle, there was an extremely hard spike, which felt like it was going to pierce Xianxia's body directly. Xianxia had just come out and immediately saw the arrival of the spike, so he immediately waved his hands and summoned a shield in front of him to block the spike. The spikes on the octopus tentacle collided with a shield, causing Xianxia's body to retreat backwards. But the next moment, Xiaoyan's hands were against his back, and a red magic power burst out, lingering on Xianxia's body, providing him with a new layer of protection while also resisting the impact from the opposite side. Xianxia and Xiaoyan blocked the attack, and Zhaoqing, who rushed out last, immediately summoned Xingming to attack the Dark Doctor who was controlled by the octopus tentacle. At the same time, Captain Carter and Kahuli, who entered the room where the cosmic crucible was earlier than them, also waved their weapons and smashed towards Dark Doctor Strange. This continuous attack made Dark Doctor Strange immediately realize how dangerous his situation was. Because Captain Carter now not only had a shield, but also Thor's hammer and 6 infinity stones. Kahuli also had Shankai's 10 rings in his hand. In the process of going to the room where the cosmic crucible was located, the 2 of them obviously got some weapons from other superheroes to strengthen their own combat power. "Strange, stop your plan, you have no possibility of completing your plan now," Captain Carter said, with a shield in her left hand and Thor's hammer in her right hand, just like Captain America in Avengers 4 who held Thor's hammer and shield and confronted Ultron. "Why do you have to make things difficult for me? Obviously, you have nothing to do with this matter," Dark Doctor Strange said, and he felt very angry at the moment, and he felt extremely angry. Obviously, everything she did was just to get back everything that once belonged to her, and she just wanted to recreate a universe. Why did she have to be opposed by these people? If you use your own life, even if you only use the lives of those supervillains to create the universe, we won't stop you, but now, you want to fill it with the same number of people as the universe you are in. You are using the lives of countless people in the universe to exchange for the life of the universe in your heart. The way of exchanging lives for lives is wrong in the first place. Since it is wrong, we have to stop you, Captain Carter said. At this moment, she has triggered the passive skill of Captain America. Captain Carter is also Captain America in her universe, and rebuked the villain from the perspective of justice. Even if it is wrong, this is what I pursue. Anyone who tries to stop me, I will. No, this is not what we originally thought. Suddenly, when the Dark Doctor Strange was halfway through his words, another different voice came out of his mouth. It's Doctor Strange himself. He and the demon inside him are mutually repelling each other. Xiaoqing saw everything, and he quickly analyzed the current situation. So, he and the demon inside him are mutually repelling each other? Tian Shan asked. Yes, Xiaoqing answered affirmatively. Is it because of the effect of the previous attack by Final Judgment, Tianxia had to be sure of what caused the current situation. Yes, final judgment itself is a move of justice judgment, which contains the judgment of evil, although Doctor Strange at that time directly released a demon inside his body to destroy our attack, so that the move could not hit completely. This move has already affected him from the moment it was released. Doctor Strange himself is fighting against the influence of the demon's power, so there is a more serious difference between Doctor Strange's consciousness and the consciousness affected by the demon, Xiaoqing explained in full. In this case, using the same power to attack should be able to promote the separation of the two consciousnesses in his body more quickly, Tianxia judged. It is very likely, Xiaoqing confirmed Tianxia's judgment. Then we will use the power with positive attributes to launch continuous attacks on him. After Xianxia finished speaking, he put away the Xianxia sword in his hand and replaced it with the Eternal Spear. Chapter 525 Li Qingyun arrives. As Xianxia changed his weapons, Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan also began to change their combat forms. Although the Xianxia sword that Xianxia originally used also used conventional energy in the universe, it was a relatively fierce weapon. The Xianxia sword was used to kill people from the very beginning when it appeared in Li Qingyun's hands. Although the Eternal Spear was just a weapon, it was a symbol of the king in Asgard and used the divine power obtained from the World Tree. In this case, the power released by the Eternal Spear was naturally more righteous than the Xianxia sword. Similarly, Zhaoqing also used the energy of the galactic force to prepare for the battle. Xiaoyan had always used Keisha's silver wings, so there was nothing to switch. The actions of the three siblings quickly attracted the attention of Captain Carter, Kahuli and Dark Doctor Strange. They all looked at Xianxia. Dark Doctor Strange had always been concerned about the actions of Xianxia and the other three, because just now behind him, the three little guys almost defeated him together. You know, he was able to easily steal and capture Thanos, who had 6 Infinity Stones. His personal combat power was definitely cosmic. However, these three underage guys were able to suppress him by their own strength. At this moment, the three suddenly changed their battle strategy, which obviously meant they had come up with some new solution. Well, it seems that my 3 children are still very smart, a sigh suddenly came out. Then, a person who surprised everyone present appeared directly in the air. That was Li Qingyun, the father of Xianxia, Zhaoqing and Xiaoyan. He once killed Infinity Ultron and is now well known in the multiverse. He is called the God of Chaos at the same level as the 5 gods. Father, Xianxia looked at Li Qingyun and felt very confused. You have proved your ability. If I hadn't come, you would have defeated him in a short time, Li Qingyun said. He originally intended to let his 3 children solve the problem directly. But later, he saw some things in the future, and he saw some very important things. This matter did not have much impact on Xianxia and the others, but it was very important to Doctor Strange-Dark. Li Qingyun and Doctor Strange-Dark had some friendship, and most importantly, he had many connections with the 2 cosmic observers involved in this matter. In this case, it was already a critical moment, and he had to come forward to deal with everything. We haven't started yet, how do you know they can definitely defeat me? Doctor Strange-Dark looked at Li Qingyun with some dissatisfaction. Although he could feel that he might not be Li Qingyun's opponent, but there were only 3 little guys, and if he used all his strength, he might not have no chance of winning. If it were just my 3 children, you would still have a chance of winning, Li Qingyun said. But in addition to my 3 children, there are also Captain Carter and Kahuli. The power they now have is also very powerful. Based on this, if you cooperate with my 3 children to work together, you have no chance of winning at all, Li Qingyun explained, and his explanation was recognized by everyone almost immediately, including Doctor Strange-Dark himself. Judging from the previous fights between him and Xianxia and the other 3, he felt a little suppressed when he was fighting against the 3 Xianxia brothers and sisters. If he faced Captain Carter, who now had 6 Infinity Stones and Thor's hammer, and Kahuli, who used the 10 rings, at the same time, he really didn't have much chance of winning. However, this doesn't mean that he has no solution at all. For example, he could directly open the portal, summon all those people outside, throw them all into the cosmic furnace, and directly activate the cosmic furnace to complete the creation of the universe. I know what you are thinking at the moment, but I have seen some future. These ideas of yours will not succeed after all, Li Qingyun said. Besides, I have brought a better solution. I don't know if you are willing to listen. While Li Qingyun said this, he had already walked directly in front of Doctor Strange, keeping a distance of only 2 meters from him. What solution? Doctor Strange looked at Li Qingyun curiously. Throw yourself into the cosmic furnace, use the cosmic energy you have and the obsession in your heart, and you can forcefully create a brand new universe, Li Qingyun said. No, this is fake, this guy is trying to trick you into dying. At this moment, the demon in the body of Doctor Strange completely went berserk. No matter what the situation was before, he was just a little dangerous, but now, everything Li Qingyun said could directly push him into the abyss. No, if this was said by someone else, I wouldn't care, but this is what Li Qingyun said, it must be true. Doctor Strange had no doubt about this. Who is Li Qingyun? He is the one who can kill Infinite Ultron in 1 second with just a raise of his hand. He is the one who is worshipped as a god by even the cosmic observers and the celestials, and who has killed the Lord of the Chaos Dimension, the god of the underworld, Sithin, and the Lord of the Dark Dimension, Dormammu. If Li Qingyun really just wanted to kill himself, he could just do it directly, and there is no need to use these so-called conspiracies and tricks. Of course, it all depends on your own wishes, Li Qingyun said. If you don't plan to create the universe in this way, I can also help you to peel off the demon in your body and restore your original state. Li Qingyun came here simply to help Doctor Strange, so he didn't do it directly now, but provided the answer to Doctor Strange and let him choose. Anyway, whether it is to help him reshape the universe or to restore his original heart, Li Qingyun can do it easily. Don't believe this guy, we just need to put all the guys above in, and the cosmic furnace can directly produce the effect. Not only can the universe be reshaped, but you can also live with the people you love forever. The demon was fighting desperately, and he didn't want to die. He knew very well that no matter what choice Doctor Strange made in the end, his ending would definitely be death. Only when Doctor Strange fought with all his strength, he would have a chance of survival. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.